Two of the Divine League in the playoffs. We've got the Akuma Katanas and the Goth Boy Clique going up against each other. And it's going to be a spicy one. Spicy already that we are neck deep into the draft here. So Akuma on the blue side. We have Goth Boy Clique on the red side. Akuma take away the Wukong and the Volibear. GBC take away the Graves Senna.
Yeah, just both these teams taking away generally very strong picks right now. In my research, I didn't really see either of these teams play most of these champions, except for that Graves, although I take that away now that they lock in the Lissandra, since Hamlet on the Goth Boy Clique, he does play a lot of that Lissandra in solo queue at least, so definitely a very big comfort pick for him being taken off the table already in this game number 1.
It is indeed. The Lissandra is the last man in the first phase for Akuma, the Galio for GBC, Karma automatically locked in here for Akuma. Gotta love to see that, as flexibility abounds with this champion. You see her everywhere and succeeding in those roles as well. So now it is up to GBC to get a little bit of a punchback here in the draft.
And we'll have to see, because there are other power picks on the table if they want to grab them, namely the 80 carry role, since none of them have been banned away. Yep, there's the Caitlyn. And do we see the Morgana locked in with this? Because Caitlyn has risen to prominence, and whenever Caitlyn is prominent, then Morgana's pretty prominent too. As a combo, a little bit of a side deal. You go and get a 2-for-5 deal. Like how all the fast food restaurants now are like,
this is the first lock-in I've ever seen of these two champions being put together. This is insanity, Goferino. We've got Caitlyn and Morgana. Oh my god.
It does give, though, over to the Goth Boy Clique, a very dominant, very strong, and fairly safe bot lane here, since you do have that range, you do have the Black Shield, you do have a ton of CC to just chain together, so we're going to see the Ashe as the response here, since Ashe does have a fairly neutral matchup into that Caitlyn. You're able to poke her out with the volley and somewhat match her auto attack range, since you aren't nearly as outranged as other AD carries. However, though, I'm curious to see what goes with this Ashe, because this Ashe is still a sitting duck to any Morg binds that comes her way.
It is. You gotta expect something maybe a little bit on the tankier side, a little bit with an engage. Olaf is the pickup there for Akuma, though. That is just such a strong combination with Karma every time. Trundle, though, is the response there for GBC, so classic matchup we see all the time. Bans are going pretty quickly in the second phase here, Go Freno, as we have Shin banned away on the blue side, Aatrox the banned away, so a lot of focus towards that top side.
For sure, and just taking off the Shen in the top lane, who has popped up a decent bit this patch. I wouldn't say most teams are considering him like S+ tier, must pick, but they have been looking to him more and more, since he does bring a lot of unique things in the top lane. Everybody knows Stand United, you're able to just get free split push constantly, and he does do fair damage for a tank, so just taking that off the board. Goth Boy Clique, they're going to be taking off the Kled, which is a favorite of Shockpool in that top lane.
It's just so strong as well. If somebody knows how to pilot it well, it's such a scary proposition to go up against. Talking about somebody that knows how to play something well, Yoshishi is going to get his comfort Urgot here for GBC.
Whew, and it is always great to have comfort, especially in this first game of this best of 3. Just grabbing yourself what you're familiar with so you can get into the groove of things right off the bat. That is always nice to have, but the response here is going to be that Scion. Most likely going to be a top lane Scion. I don't think we're going to be seeing a support Scion this game, especially into the Caitlyn Morgana. I wouldn't be holding my breath for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if his flex down there. But that's a lot worth to say that it might not be top lane Scion.
I hope it is, because then we got the 2 big boys, we got the 2 science experiments, the 2 Frankenstein monsters going at it in the top lane. It'd be so much fun to see. Honestly, probably not the funnest, but I would like to think so. I like to preposition it that way. We did see the Corki locked in as well as the Orianna, so I might get my wish here. Maybe.
I mean, did a falling star come by you recently? However, though,
apparently, I don't fucking. I think that the luck is all coming through. I think that I think both the teams getting some comfort for themselves. Maybe not so much for the side of Akuma, but GBC really having a lot of strength in their composition, a lot of things that are comfortable in the meta right now, but do have a lot of strength in their own. And you can look at every one of these lanes to see something popping off. Yes, Trundle is going to be a little bit of the catalyst for whichever focus he's going to put down, but anyone on this team can have a potential here to carry, and we are in a best of 3. So getting off the ground on the right foot here in game number 1 is going to be so important. And when you've drafted yourself these kinds of compositions, you can hope for nothing but the best.
Yeah, and you kind of want the best here if you're at this point here, Lemons, because this is round 2 of the losers bracket. Whoever loses this, they're just out of the Divine playoffs. Like, don't get me wrong, it definitely was a great run to get this far to whichever team does lose, but it's still the taste of defeat, and that's always a little salty, no matter how nicely you take it.
Yep, and that's what makes these series so much fun. It's everything on the line. It's everything that these teams have been working for so long, and you just have to put your cards on the table and hope that your hand wins. Obviously, there's a little bit of give and take there because you're dealing with people and not cards. But it's it's kind of the same. No, you do get to see a lot of fun things in playoffs, and I really am excited for this series. First of all, for the teams that are playing, but just to see this playoffs continue.
Because there is still a lot more of the Divine League to go. If I'm not mistaken, there's at least like another 3 or 4-ish rounds. My memory's a little hazy right now because Battlefly isn't exactly the most user-intuitive thing when you can only see like a core of the bracket at any given time. But so there are going to be 4 more matches, it looks like, after this. So
Yep, and it is going to be a long trudge for either of these teams going forward if they want to make it all the way to the finals. And that's where you have to pull this mental grit out. You have to make sure that you've got everything bolted down, you've got everything ready to go, because it's you're only about halfway there now if you plan on making it all the way to the end. And both these teams, I feel like, do have the possibility to make that happen and make their dreams come true here in this tournament. And I am a little bit shocked at Akuma's composition. I think the Olaf and everything like that fits really well. Not shocked, I guess. Shocked is not the right word, but I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried because I just see so much strength coming out from the side of GBC. Not to say that you're running this double ADC composition. You have this Olaf with the Karma to back him up as well as the rest of your ADC. So you have that strength, but I just, Yoshishi on the Urgot is a fright, so to speak.
Yeah, although early on in the game, Shock Pull can definitely give Yoshishi a lot of trouble, since Urgots, they typically need to hit, it's either level 9 or level 13. It's basically around the fact whether or not your W is maxed, because having that Gatling gun maxed out is just so crucial on Urgot in his current state. And before then, I mean, we all know the damage that Scion can put on lane. A fully charged Decimating Smash will kill even the tankiest of opponents, usually at level 1, or just half health them, or some stuff like that. Either way, though, Yoshishi, of course, once he makes it over the hill, once he hits that nice little level 13 power spike of his, once he has a little bit of itemization under his belt, then he can start looking to take over in the top lane. Then he won't really have to worry about Shock Pull, because he'll be able to heal through all the damage, tank through all the damage, and then, of course, just melt through this Scion.
Yeah, and at that point, Shock Pull is like, I really hope everybody else is feeling really good here. Doubtful how you feeling over there. you got some strong axes. But yeah, so it's gonna be a very, very hype game, number one. I'm so excited to see these two teams clash here in the losers bracket round 2 of the Divine League. But we're gonna send it to a little break while we get through spectator delay, so make sure you don't touch that browser. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have made the trek. We have crested the mountaintop, and we have arrived on Summoner's Rift here for this matchup between Akuma Katanas and Goth Boy Clique.
Whew, and like we say in Champion Select here, Lemons, there's a lot on the line since this is the loser's bracket. It is a best of 3, so if you do drop this game, it is not over for you just quite yet. You'll just have to pull off a little bit of a reverse sweep and get that 2 in a row.
Yeah, so going to go ahead and get into a pause here, Gofrino, as we have a little bit of lag for the mid laner. So it's it's a little bit of stagnation before we get to this really high matchup, but it gives us some time to talk about these compositions a little bit more and highlight some of the things that we really think are going to play out on this and between these two teams.
I mean, when you look at both these teams here, Lemons, like their primary carries, they are both fairly good scalers, like Pursuer on the Ashe, Kalexo on the Corki. Both of those, they do scale fairly well into the late game. As Cher, she will technically drop off a bit if you are going for a bit more of the Blade the Rune King build compared to just full-on crit. And then, of course, since she is more so utility, you don't have as much damage technically. But when you look on the other side, I mean, Hamlet on the Orianna, we know what a late game Orianna can do with those shockwaves, Lemons. We know how you can just nuke entire teams. Even super tanky members will get chunked by it and feel the burn. And not a Zed on the Caitlyn. 6-item Caitlyn, 4-item Caitlyn. That is a very scary prospect.
It definitely is. I gotta say though, you're looking at late game Ashe too. Ashe can be super scary in her own right, especially being able to get the pick outs and stuff and set up Doubtful on this Olaf, who, yes, is going to be farming up a lot of the early game, but I expect him to be a large portion of this mid game for Akuma, and it's going to be later in the game when Kalexo and Pursuer are really going to be hitting those big item spikes, hitting that team fight potential. So up until then, it's doubtful. You're looking at this carry jungler, you're looking at this aggressive jungler to get you there at least.
And you certainly can make that happen, and one way to make your mark on a series is just have an absolute devastating early game 1, and then use that to just transition into an easy win. That can always be a fairly good method to securing a first win and getting a win in your pockets for a best of 3 series. It always helps the sales, just set sail a little harder.
Momentum. It's all about momentum.
Yeah. So long as you got the wind. Sometimes you misdirect your wind. Sometimes you just fly right back into port.
Are you trying to suggest something? Are we going sailing references today? Are we doing all nautical theme? I've got some nautical themed pillows in my living room, Gofrino. Don't make me go get them.
We aren't doing cams, though. I remember you specifically asked we didn't.
Yeah.
Someone had a messy bed.
Hey, we've never done cams in Divine. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me the day we're doing cams. I'll be ready.
Finals.
I'm down.
That might be a little fun.
I'm down. But meanwhile, still seeing a lot of easy laning going on here for both sides. It's going to be a pretty steady push here for the most part in the beginning of the game because the meta still farming up on Trundle, Doubtful still farming up on Trundle. You're not going to see a lot of interaction from them just yet. When you do, fireworks going to be flying, but up until then, it's just going to be a farming simulator.
Ooh. Yeah, and kind of makes sense when you have the Olaf, when you have the Trundle. I mean, Olaf and Trundle, they certainly can make ganks happen early, especially if you look at the top lane where Yoshishi is right now. If this was a top side Doubtful right now, he could be looking for a gank. Obviously, though, he is bot side. He's on that Scuttle, so this is one very safe Urgot in terms of ganks, thankfully, if you are rooting for the Goth Boy Clique here. Or maybe you're a little anti-Goth, maybe you're more into denim jeans. Goth people hate jeans, right?
I don't know. I don't have the research on that. I've not watched that documentary, so I don't know. I usually pride myself on my my knowledge. I just don't know in that case. Also, we are seeing some awesome gameplay in the form of the hitboxes for Karma and her Inner Flame.
God, the Mantra Inner Flame hitbox
is ridiculous.
Because it has longer range than base Inner Flame. That's like, okay, but it always catches you off guard. It has a thicker hitbox, but no matter how much you think you know the range of it, you don't know the range.
Yeah, I love it
because the thickness of it.
I love it because Akuma decided to go both of the really finicky hitbox champions down here. They got the Ashe and the Karma. So, you know, if at
I
least you're
thought you were
going to
gonna
play
mention
into the Caitlyn.
Morgana.
I thought you were going to well, she's right up in there too. You know, they've just got this wonderful thing going on. But at least if you're going to be facing the Caitlyn Morgana, go with the enlarged hitboxes. You got to love it.
Yeah, having dummy hitboxes on your side can always help. I have to see how it works out in this lane because it's been relatively calm so far. The Ashe pseudo counter pick is it's been working out. They've been keeping even in the lane, and that's usually enough to counter the Caitlyn, since everybody knows Caitlyn has her infamous mid-game power dip where she's trying to work towards a potential third item. She doesn't really have any natural steroids outside of the headshot, and that's just every 6 autos, whereas the Ashe, you always have the ranger's focus. You can always proc that, always pop that for massive attack speed, and you spike fairly hard when you have Blade the Rune King and the Runons, since, of course, you're just spreading the love to 3 people at once. It's a great little inner flame there.
The only thing I could think of is, like, just hugs coming out, but very aggressive hugs, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to go further with that analogy anyways. We're about to see some tussling, though, as the supports go up against each other. We see the junglers here.
Teleport
coming in. That's going to be the Ashe joining the fight. But Doubtful's going to have to flash the shockwave because he just almost got blown up by that. Now Yoshishi going with the ultimate. He's going to be able to get it. The fear off onto 2 members. This is the signal to engage, but he's getting taken down. Pursuer able to do a lot of damage on the backside there. Pursuer still poking away. Klexo coming in with full health, no mana though. We see flashes though. It is turning in Akuma's favor. Flash forward from Forbidden. Can he pick up the kill? He cannot connect the root. And the phase rush gonna help, or not phase rush, pardon me. The speed boost for meta gonna get him out of there. That was so back and forth. Honestly, I'm surprised that it's GBC who get out with 1 kill.
They get 1 kill and they steal the dragon here, Lemon.
Yeah, like that's nuts.
Surely one of them has to die here. Like, you saw it with your own eyes. Their health bars were so low. You might have just thought they were non-existent. You might have thought it was a game bug where health bars aren't displaying, and wouldn't be the first time in League of Legends where that bug would have happened. However, though, Gothboy Clique, they got to be feeling really good about themselves because they steal the dragon and then they make way.
And Akuma, I really liked some of that there. I do feel like they could have capitalized a little bit better, but it just wasn't the right place, wasn't the right time. They didn't have the mana on a few key members, and it didn't work out. So hopefully they can continue that kind of mindset, because I do feel like if they had a couple more of those resources, they could have punished GBC very hard right there.
Yeah, like if there were some level 6s here, like if Doubtful had the level 6, if Pursuer had the level 6,
that fear beyond death was too good. I mean, it was kind of like shooting fish in a barrel, but shooting fish in a barrel is still shooting fish, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, fish they're fast. They're a little hard to hit, even when they're confined.
That's a very wide subject there. Fish are fast.
It's true.
But anyway, not talking about fish. We're talking about League of Legends here. And yeah, it's GBC off to a very good start in game number 1. Not a big gold lead, but do have that objective lead so far. We're more than likely going to see another little bit of a fight around the next dragon, which is going to be an ocean dragon, in about 2.5 minutes. Now, Rift Herald's still available. Both these junglers very good at taking Rift Herald, but we haven't seen a priority over it just yet, just on the scuttles. And we saw that little bit of a skirmish there in front of the dragon pit over that objective. So I'm really looking to see the pace, maybe the aggression turn on a little bit for these junglers here coming up.
I like this just pure aggression coming up from Hamlet here in this mid lane. He has the Lost Chapter, his opponent. Sure, you're sitting on that pickaxe, but Lost Chapter is just such a nasty spike for mages compared to just a singular pickaxe, because you're getting basically the same amount of AP as they get AD, but you also get CDR, you get mana, you get the pseudo mana restore whenever you level up, and we just see that coming to fruition in this mid lane with this bullying. And I'm just curious when Hamlet will want to pull the shockwave trigger, because of course there is that Valkyrie. If Klexo is fast on the trigger, he should be able to get out of it, but it is always a little tricky to get out of shockwave sometimes unless you commit that flash, since the Valkyrie does have a little bit of travel time.
We also Klexo has package as well now, so he's gonna have to figure out how he wants to utilize that here and really figure out the best way forward. You do get to see it back from meta. I'm sure it's to set up for the dragon, which is in about 1 minute and 10 seconds.
A little
But
duel.
apparently not.
Oh,
Yes, not to. Shock pool.
there's a flash.
Might be getting caught out here. Look, you got the side man going around. He might be able to catch him here. Yoshishi taking the long wave. The flash comes out from Shock pool though, and he's gonna be able to get out of that one.
And it was a nice little trade. Sadly, no kills picked up there for the side of Goth Boy Clique, but you're able to get out the unstoppable onslaught from Shockpool. You're also able to get out his flash, and getting the flash out of the top laner is always nice. If there are any top laner mains in the chat right now, you know how hard you can get punished in the top lane when you don't have that flash. You have to overextend because you can't give up the cannon. Then all of a sudden, the jungler's in your lane for the third time within the past 5 minutes, and then you just die.
All right, so we got on my way pings from Akuma, and we got dragon pings coming out from GBC. Obviously, both sides want this objective, but it is going to be Akuma who get first positioning on it here and are going to be able to lay down a lot of vision for themselves.
Where are we going to see this pick off here? There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Yep, there it is. There's the setup. We set it up all along, Goferino. Hamlet going to be the first to go down. The first kill registered to Akuma. Now they set their eyes on this dragon. It is going to be not exact. I mean, it's still going to be a 4v4 because Shockpool doesn't have TP just yet. And Yoshishi has made his way down to this side of the map. So it's still an even fight. And honestly, Yoshishi coming in, that's a little bit scary for the side of Akuma.
Oh, Yoshishi goes in.
He doesn't get the connection that he wanted. Now he's going to be stunned up. He goes in. Olaf steals the kill. That's going to be a dragon going over to Akuma. He just flashed in there, smited, and stole it away from GBC, saying right back at you, buddy.
We've had 100% steal rate this series, so I don't know. We might need a little bit of smite check here coming out, but the meta gonna be feeling bad. That's a quick shockwave.
He's just gonna sacrifice himself. He didn't even get the slam off. Oh, it feels bad. Sacrificial Scion. Oh, I thought he was just gonna go for the tower. Okay, he goes down though.
Poor Scion main. Because the true chat Scions, they know when to pick. Oh, that's a great
find. Let's go, Burrito! Knight of the Zed. Like, all right. Caitlyn wins lane. That's it.
I mean, that's kind of what happens when you get hit up by a bind here. Because if you eat up that dark bind.
Before that, he was popping off shots back and forth. He was getting he got double headshots on both members, and it was just like, okay, what do I do? And then you're trying to dodge out the Piltover Peacemaker for Forbidden is trying to, and doing so, you just get binded, and that's it. That just feels so bad for Akuma on the bot side.
And that's why this Caitlyn Morgana lane is just so deadly here, because both of them, they do have strong early phases here. Morgana, she can do... Oh, never mind that. Here comes Doubtful.
Doubtful and Forbidden, the tag team duo. You got Klexo coming up too, and that just to add the cherry on top, Shockpool is going to come through and get to the mid lane.
Farm alarm.
Unstoppable onslaught, yeah, but it is going to be a kill registered there for Akuma, and they are going also to be able to take the Rift Herald here.
And Akuma, they're going to be feeling pretty good here because that is a great pickup. You're going to put this Urgot a little further behind. It's going to take him a little longer to hit his stride on this Urgot. But also, you're able to get another kill onto this Olaf. You're able to pick up the Rift Herald. Plates are still up here for another 30, and we see the immediate ping in that top lane from Doubtful's Olaf, looking to just plop this down, pick up some platings while he's at it, and that will be very nice, especially if they can somehow get the first tower in the top lane. Let me check on how many plates are there. Oh yeah, that's going to be first tower. So that is actually very big here, because that is a chunky swing of gold in their favor. Getting the kill, getting the place, getting the first tower. Of course, though, still a fairly even game, all things considered, monetarily wise at least.
Monetarily wise. Everybody's doing pretty well. There's nobody that's really falling behind too much. The only differential is Yoshishi in the top side.
Teleport?
Nahor has been, teleport coming on the backside. That's a double TP, actually. So that's just Akuma making the advanced play here. But the rest of the team has arrived. So, and the fact that we saw that much damage go down and Knight of the Zed just got blasted is unfortunate. But it is Akuma who come out with a kill for themselves. So slowly getting themselves even on the kill scores here.
That they are, but
they committed a lot.
They did commit a lot. They aren't able to get any extra objectives off the back of this, even though they did commit the Injector's Arrow, the double TP. So preferably, you would like to see Akuma get a little bit more out of that, at least globally wise. Of course, though, you had 4 members down there against 4 enemy members. It would have been hard to push for the turret there. There aren't any plates up, and you have a lot of ultimate down. So I can understand why Akuma didn't go for that. It's just in a perfect world, you hope to see it. Either way, though, I mean, props to Akuma, though. They're able to, like you said, try and even up the skill score just a little bit more. Get a kill onto this Corki as well for Klexo, who we mentioned he's going to be scaling up very finely.
Yeah, he is. He's got his Man Immune completed. He has his Sheen as well. Not going to be... It's still a little bit off from the Trinity Force, but he'll get there eventually. Luden's Echo is now completed for the Orianna, so Hamlet has hit his 1-item power spike, so could be looking at those a little bit bigger of a shockwave, maybe not the full thing just yet, but it's awesome to me that we are so close at this 15-16 minute mark in the game, because that just means we're going into the scaling that these teams are set up for, and it's just going to be that much more fun.
And it kind of makes sense so far. Neither of these teams, they don't have to pull the trigger quite yet for the most part here, unless it's free, in which case, of course, yeah, sure, go for it. But you have the scaling in your back pocket. Playing the waiting game, it isn't necessarily the worst thing. I would like to see at least a little bit more aggressiveness coming out from both these teams, maybe, but that's just me. I tend to like a little bit of action. This is going to be the Earth Dragon spawning in. Flexo, he does have that package here, so I'm curious to see how he uses it, Lemons, because he can zone off an entire team with this. Like, look at where they're coming from. Look for
that team fight composition, though, for GBC is so scary to fight here in this. But here comes the Unstoppable Onslaught. They say they want to take the fight. The Black Shield comes out the package, going to zone off these 2 members, but a huge shockwave in the middle of the backline. Hamlet, that Luden's Echo is doing work for you. Klexo trying to get the same on the backside. He's going to snipe 1. Can he follow it up with the rest of the damage? Hamlet flashes forward. He's not going to be able to hit it. Pursuer getting hit down. Knight of the Zed looking for more, looking for everything. He's going to get 2. He's going to get 3. Oh, Orianna stealing it away, but can Hamlet finish off Klexo? He's going to walk into Shockwave, has to get away. Knight of the Zed, they are going on a hunt mission here to try to get Klexo, but it looks like they are going to be a little bit too slow for. But after everything is said and done, after the dust has settled, it is GBC coming out on top.
Whew, and that fight initially went so poorly for them. Like, they got engaged on, they lost 3 of their members in exchange for only 1. However, though, since Knight of the Zed, since Hamlet, they were both very healthy still. They were still able to pump out a ton of damage, and with how low some of the health bars were, we're just able to see it come in, them able to turn it around, and in the end, it is a 4-4-3 in the favor of Gothboy Clique. And also, they do get the first Earth Dragon of this game, which is going to be very nice to have, as with how tanky some of these boys are on both compositions, having a few Mountain Dragons under your belt is going to be a little disgusting, to say the least.
That shockwave is just replaying in my head over and over again.
I didn't know you had a rewind feature.
Yeah, no. It's personalized systems. But yeah, it was a very interesting fight in all honesty, because I did feel like Akuma had the better end of it. They got split though, because Klexo had used his package. Meanwhile, talking about split, Yoshishi getting caught here by 3 members of Akuma. He's gonna try his darndest, but he can't do anything. A Pursuer just wants to go for it on Knight of the Zed. He's gonna have meta coming up here, but it's just going to be a kill secured. He doesn't even care that he's going to go down. He said, I wanted the 1v1 with the ADC. I got what I came for.
Whew, and that was a great 1v1 coming out from this Ashe. Sadly, no mini bounty picked up from this Caitlyn, but you're able to go 1-for-1. Sure, the enemy team does get an assist here, but of course, denying that Caitlyn her late game power spike that much longer. That's always nice to have, and of course, it was technically a 2-for-1 since you were able to get that top lane in the top lane. Poor meta.
Okay, technically, yes. You're right. Go for it. Also, I just want to say, mental advantage. Pursuer just playing for the mental edge there. Says, I got you, bro. Gotta watch out for my enchanted crystal arrows from here on out. But I really like to see that we set Pursuer up as this engaged starter here for Akuma, because he was really that, and the Unstoppable Onslaught are really going to be the only long engages that you have, and he's been doing so beautifully so far.
That he has. I mean, I love that he's been able to pull the trigger so far. It's been able to get quite a few kills for his team, and hey, we're starting to see some of that fruits of labor payoff, or the labor of your the fruit of your labor.
Yeah, it's the fruit of your labor.
I don't know. I'm not an English major, so those types of sayings not exactly my forte.
Talking hard.
Talk hard.
Talk hard. So yeah, 20-minute mark here. Baron is spawning. We did get to see the Rift Herald picked up by GVC though right before the spawn, so that's going to be a really strong tool for them to use further into the game potentially. Really wanted to see where they want to utilize that, if they're going to use it as a distraction to get themselves on some point, or how they want to approach it that way, because that's going to be a big deal. You're still trying to farm up though on the side of Akuma. You're still trying to hit those breakpoints. You're trying to get further in the game. You see that in this farm, and you're starting to see some breakaways here a little bit. You're getting 20 farm differentials in the top and jungle. You're getting a little bit of a bigger one there in the bot lane, but it's going to be neck and neck. And really where this game is going to pop off is those big objectives that we've already seen.
Yeah, and for Yoshishi in particular, I'm willing to cut him a bit of slack here on the CS deficiency. Like, he's had, what, 3 or 4 people just jump him while he's all on his own, like, 2 times at this point. Like, the man can't catch a break here. So, I'm willing to cut a little bit of slack. However, though, 90 seconds until that next dragon will be very interesting to see what these teams decide to do around that, Lemons, because last time we had a dragon fight, it was a fight for the ages, to say the least.
It was something along those lines for sure. We do have 2 item power spikes completed for the double ADC composition of Akuma. You have the Trinity Force of Made Immune on Klexo. You've got the Runeans and the Blade of the Ruined King on Pursuer. So it's going to be a protect the ADC positioning. I feel like it needs to be for Akuma. And we'll have to see if they get caught by that big shockwave again, because that just sets up Knight of the Zed to get those pop shots.
Yeah, and I like this response from Meta. He has the Tab Eyes here. He has the Bramble Vest. That's going to go a long way for tanking these AD carries in team fights. He kind of wants some health here, because obviously neither of those really give him health. Thankfully, he does have a Cinderhulk, the Spectre Scowl, and an extra Ruby Crystal to boot. So, though, he's going to really be relying on Subjugate, I feel, in these team fights in order to not die under focus fire from Pursuer and Klexo. There's a little bit of a...
All right. Real quick, Gopher, I'm setting it up. So we got TPs available on Klexo and Shockpool. Klexo just picked up his package as well. So I'm sure we're going to see something along those lines for Akuma.
I would assume so. I mean... Actually, how long does the package take to respawn? It's 8 minutes, I believe?
8 minutes, yeah.
So that's how long that dragon fight went on last time. Because he had the package before.
In the mid lane here.
He does have the flank, though, with the Unstoppable Onslaught. And there's only 1 black shield to go around. That's already the dragon being taken. Nothing much you can do there. You force out the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. There is a beautiful pillar.
Yeah, and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow missed. So those are 2 big engages. Those are the 2 big engages. Now Shockpool just getting caught here. But the package comes down across the back. They don't want to go across that, but it's actually Klexo who just has to keep walking upwards, because the Caitlyn is right on his way. Ragnarok is up. The chaos is still ensuing. Fear Beyond Death is going to be stopwatch there. He still goes down to Hamlet, though, as the damage from that command attack is just so strong right now at this spike for Orianna. And Doubtful goes down. That's a bit unfortunate. You're going to see even more of a push into the mid lane. First tower destroyed. They could be looking at a second.
Yeah, and all they had to give up for this was a singular mountain dragon, was not even the sole point. So you do have another potential 2 dragons to give over. You're able to get 2 towers. You're able to get a kill, maybe even more, depending on how well Shockpool is able to take this beating.
Hamlet is doing so well on this Orianna. He's zoning all of the damage off from Akuma. It's insanity right now. Shockpool just gets bursted down. There's nothing you can do about it. You're literally watching your teammates die before your eyes.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Hamlet is playing very well here. Like, out of the two Hamlets I know, he's doing the best on Orianna that I've seen so far. Although, the other one was technically a fictional character in a play, I heard. So,
I don't know what you're talking about. He was
best one of two, you know.
best Orianna in Western Europe. I don't know.
Either way, though, it is definitely it's been a somewhat calm game here, Lemons. Like, there's definitely been some action, but it hasn't been one-sided. Both these teams very neck and neck. There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
That hitbox! Knight of the Zed just gets caught out after that. The Black Shield wasn't able to do really too much, but he did flash over the wall. So that's a plus for Akuma. They get the flash out of the 80 carry. It's going to be a much easier target to take down next time around.
Yeah, because Flash, it's a 6-minute cooldown. Chain Crystal Arrow, it's like 1.5 minutes at this point. That's a great shockwave. That's a great...
So... he's got to be right on the edge. Like, what? I want Yoshishi to be able to pull that back. Like, please. Give it to him. How is that not? Isn't it 30%? How is that not 30%?
No, it's 20%. I want to say it's... I can quickly check the ability here.
It's 25%.
They're below 25, yeah. That was my second guess.
That felt like lower than 25%, but it's all good. It's all good. It's fine. It's fine.
It can be deceptive.
Percentages and health bars, you know, they're out there to trick you. Never believe that they're friends, folks.
Is that why all the dragons get percentages? Because they aren't your friend?
Is that why? Is that what
Little lane gank.
I'm sold on it.
Little lane gank coming out of this bot lane though from Doubtful.
Could see something go down. Yoshishi is a pretty strong target though, so you got to be very decisive on how you want to approach that. Especially you're going to see a back coming through from Doubtful though. Another dragon up in 1:40 here, Go Freno. But meanwhile, Klexo in top lane going to be in some serious trouble. He's already used the Valkyrie. The flash comes out to get out of that shockwave, but the shot comes through. The sniper from Knight of the Zed is going to pick up the kill for him.
And that is a shutdown onto this Caitlyn, who already has those two items. Took a little bit of a detour to pick up that Executioners, but that is a little bit necessary when you're facing off against all this enemy lifesteal, all this enemy healing coming out, so I don't blame him. Looks like he's going for a Zeal item next, which I do love, because playing Caitlyn without at least one Zeal item is just one of the most awful feelings ever. Like, you just attack at the speed of molasses, I guess. That's a slow thing if you pour it out. Either way, though.
I think I heard that the plan now is to just go straight for the damage items, the BF sword items.
For the first two items, yes.
Yeah. But I just think it adds so much to her. And he, honestly, Knight of the Zed is turning up in this game. And if we continue to go and he still gets like another item completed and these team fights continue to go the way that they are, yes, he's down a lot in CS. He's down a lot. But he's up in gold by almost 2,000. So if you continue this stride as the Caitlyn, you're really going to do well in these team fights.
Yeah, and once Knight of the Zed, I assume he's going to eventually get a QSS here because you can only rely on the Black Shield so much. Like, it is a great tool if you and your support right next to each other, both of you on the same wave, both of you just paying 100% attention to the game. Yeah, sure. But
I fear though, because I do feel like you're on a time time crunch here against Akuma. They have drafted a composition that is so good in the later parts of the game. We're getting to that point. We have seen Pursuer getting the good engages. Klexo's really starting to do a lot of work, and it's honestly anybody's game at this point. Dragon's go down. He tried to pull the same play. He wasn't able to, but they could take the fight. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow on top of the package. Hamlet gets caught out. He gets pulled away from the rest of his team, and he goes down. Now the damage, the AoE is there. This could just be the fight for Akuma. The flash forward from Pursuer. Look at that. Runan's doing work, but Yoshishi says, I don't want to have any more of that. He's trying to take everybody down. He gets 2 in the back line, but the rest of his team is running for the hills. And now he's got to do a lot of the same. Can he escape as Klexo's trying to get the cutoff here? He has the Valkyrie. Here comes the Rockets. The shield is out, but this is just going to be one of those clown chases, I believe. But finally shut down, going over 450 gold into the pocket of Klexo as Akuma actually pull it out. It's not pull it out exactly. It's 2 members left on either side, but they at least get the tower. They get a little bit more gold for themselves, and they take over the gold lead.
And that is very nice here. Granted, though, they did technically lose the fight overall there, potentially, since you did lose the dragon. You exchanged it for the tower, but this is Soul Point Dragon, and you traded it for an outer turret, so it kind of depends. Of course, that outer turret will open up a lot more late game when we're talking about when you have to just push down. That's one less turret to deal with. It lets you access the enemy jungler more, but Soul Point here. And it was a very even fight. I don't know who came out on top really. Like, I want to give a slight edge here to the Goth Boy Clique, but
thinking about it, you kind of have to. I mean, they did get put on Soul Point. Now they have more momentum control over the map, and they get to decide how they want to approach the next dragon.
Because they can't give up the next dragon if they want to. They can force the classic catch-22 of Baron versus Soul, and the enemy team here, in this case, Akuma's Katanas. Sure, you'll put yourself on Soul Point, but you'll have to deal with the wrath of a Baron buff on the enemy team, and that is always hard to deal with. Thankfully, you do, of course, have the double-ranged carries. They are able to deal with those Baroned up minions fairly well compared to the rest of the roster. But it's still Baron buff here, Lemons. It is a tricky Nando to deal with.
Definitely is. Definitely is. Right now, you're just pretty much seeing both teams again resorting to the state of the game where they just wait for the objectives to come up. They don't want to do any fighting between. It's only, you only butt heads when the big scary dragon or the big purple worm is in your face. Or when you catch somebody out in a side lane. That too. That can happen too. Not going to see it this time, though. They don't decide to commit to it. Shock pool was a little bit far over there, but oh my god, look at that line of traps. Look at it. Look at it. He's giving them the L. He's giving them the L. I love it. They start at the Baron, though.
Just a little bit of space. See how well this goes, though, because Caitlyn can definitely do some fair damage, but you only have 3 members here. Your other 2 might not DPS at the best. It is sniffed out here by Akuma's Katanas, and there is an Olaf on the side. Sure, he'll still eat up the trap technically if he Ragnaroks, but he's going to be able to run right through it, and headshots be damned. He will be able to get to this backline. Very wise here. Up the Goth Boy Clique, just kind of back off. This was sniffed out. No need to risk it. How even the game is, and just how well you can see it.
Yeah, and it's just such a knife's edge here for both teams. I'm glad that we see the conservative side of GBC there, where they did decide to start at the Baron. They wanted to maybe pull that call. They wanted to force something from Akuma. But they see that it's not going exactly how they wanted it to. They trapped the wrong entrance, or they didn't go down the right entrance, I guess. And then they have to know how to pull out. And those are the kinds of things you're looking for, because you can give the game right back over. Even if you are on Soul Point, all these things, you give over that Baron in a 50-50, it's never a fun time.
50-50s, sometimes it is a fun time. Sometimes it isn't, as the nature of a 50-50. There's a teleport coming out from Pursuer, actually, into his bot lane. Just wanted to be here in time for this dragon, I guess. I did feel like he definitely had the time to just walk right on back, but better safe than sorry, and it's not like this Ashe is really going to be looking for TP flanks for the most part. That's just more so a lane tempo dealio, and sometimes map tempo dealio. But yeah,
new meta, Ashe flanks. She shoots the crystal arrow, TPs, then pops up behind you. GG. Speaking of enchanted crystal arrow, it's gonna whiff.
Enchanted crystal whiff.
Enchanted crystal whiff. Akuma needs to rethink their approach here. Klexo is on the backside over here, but really interested at their approach right now. You see the dragon started up by Akuma. They're going to be taking a decent amount of poke damage from this. It's all who wants to start the fight at this moment. And oh my goodness, Nando is dead. Getting a little pop-off shot on the Klexo. This is so 50-50. Nobody wants to commit to this.
There's still a package available. I'm going to quickly check on the timer left on that. He has roughly only a little bit left.
They're going in, though. The Unstoppable Force is going to go through package right down the middle, but the Black Shield's going to stop Yoshishi from getting too much damage onto him there, but the Shockwave going to land on Pursuer. They've still taken the fight, though. The health bars for GBC aren't there anymore, and 4 members standing strong here for Akuma. They look at the dragon to put themselves on Soul Point.
Oh, man, kind of a bit of a reverse from the last time these two teams fought over the dragon. It's Akuma this time coming out on top. They also put themselves on soul point here. The Baron's still up. Sure, meta is around. He is going to be able to potentially steal here, but he doesn't have the flash. We already see the zoning duty coming out from Forbidden. I like this. Meta just going to be on a ward here. He isn't going to have that blast cone access either, so we do see his steal. It is going to have to be a little bit of a miracle steal from this Trundle.
Flexo says, no, you're not getting that chance. Oh, he misses the rocket. One more's got to do it. Oh, flash. Okay. Plexo says he's not good away. I'm going to go ahead and flash for it. They are going to get this Baron as well. So they put themselves on soul point. We've got 3-3 in Dragon, 16-16 in kills. And a Baron going over to Akuma, who have started to sway things in their favor. They've developed a nice little gold lead for themselves, about 4,000 in their pockets over their enemy here.
Yeah, because of that one fight, we have to remember, right before this, it was dead even.
It was so even.
It was Katanas, thanks to the Baron, thanks to the team fight win. They've swung it 5k-ish in their favor, just a little bit under. Of course, it is going to be subject to flex rain quite a bit here. Thanks to the Baron, you can pick up a lot of little things to those towers. And of course, there's always the potential of a negative Baron power play here. And I'm looking towards the Akuma roster here. What are you going to do with this Baron? Because now you can look to force the map. You can look to just force your will upon the enemy team and just have at you with the rest of the map. There's a lot of towers to be picked up here. A lot of potential damage to be done to this enemy roster with your 80 carries who are both hitting their stride. 3.5 items on the Ashe, 4 items on this Corky. It's going to be a little scary here, Limits.
Not going to lie, I haven't been watching too much, but I sure hope, and I'm sure he is, but I really hope the meta is using Subjugate on Shockful. That dude's got 5k health right now. Go for, you know.
That's not even accounting for the resistance.
I know! It's a big boy! He ate his Wheaties all day long, apparently. And they're doing just fine with this Baron buff, as we were talking about beforehand, just wondering what they were going to do, how they were going to approach it. And they've already taken 2 towers. Could be looking at a third. They might just go across the board here.
Yeah, and this might just be a bit more of an economy Baron here. Like, maybe they might not be able to break up the base here. They do have about 40% of that Baron left, so we're going to call that roughly 3 to 4 waves if I want to be on the edge of a safety there. Oh, Forbidden, you're a little caught out, buddy. Thankfully, he's able to dodge out on the bind, however, and still, though, even if Akuma, they aren't able to break open the base with this Baron buff, even if they do just pick up all these inner turrets, that is still very nice cash in your pockets, and it's going to a good cause, namely Pursuer, namely Klexo, and you still have a little bit of juice left in the tank to maybe try and pick up this top lane turret.
You gotta be really careful about overextending, though. These are the moments that you just kind of back off and realize, like, you could stay, you could maybe get something, but it's probably better that you don't.
Yeah, it is always a little bit of a dance on the edge of a knife here, so looks like the call is just going to be back off here. They don't have a ton of Baron left, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's about to time out. Just use the Empowered Recall. Use all the extra cash in your pocket, and hopefully put that cash to use in this Dragon coming up in a minute and a half. Maybe put it to use even in that next Baron in roughly 3 minutes, 10-ish seconds.
But, on the other hand, Dragon spawning in 1 minute and 15 seconds. For both teams really just ready to get this fight on with in front of the Dragon Pit and figure out who's going to pull away with this soul finally after the back and forth that we've seen all game long for 40 minutes.
It's literally been pretty back and forth over the buffs here, because like none of these teams have had more than a single Dragon worth of a lead so far. So one of these teams, they're going to get the final Dragon lead of this game, not including Elder at least, and they'll get themselves a soul. And you have to remember here, Lemons, with the Olaf, with the Scion, with the Urgot, with the Trundle, getting that extra 18% MR armor, that is very deadly. Looks like we're going to see a little bit of a scuff come out. That's a great bind.
Oh, he's going to miss it. He doesn't get the pull off, though, but it's still going to be a lot of damage. Package coming in the back. Night of the Dead had to flash out, but Akuma, that's the scaling. That's the damage coming out. Look at the health bars. They are just disappearing for GBC. And Akuma are online. They've activated everything they need. and they could look at the soul here if they want, but Yoshishi says he wants a piece of them before they can. He's going to flash away, but Shockpool going to follow that up, says, hello, my friend from the top lane. We meet again.
This might just be the game here.
Yeah, they look like they just want to end it. They don't care about the soul, apparently.
The GGs are coming out. The inhib already looking to go down here. They don't have much of a minion wave, but they can certainly make it work here, Lemons. And
that team fight, though, that was insane. Yeah, Knight of Zed going to try something, but he's just going to be taken out there. The axe going to come through, but it's actually going to be Corki finishing him off. And Akuma with a little bit of a TPBM at the end there, going to take game number 1 in this losers bracket round 2 matchup between just two awesome teams. If that's going to be how this series is going to play out for the Divine League, it is a pleasure to have seen that game. 40 minutes long, not even a soul to come away with. They don't even get to put that on their trophy board, but they do get to take that dub.
Fatty dub, and that's what matters in the end here. I mean, this is one thing I loved from Akuma Katanas this game, Lemons. Sure, the scaling was relatively even between both these teams, but Akuma, when did they fight? When did they go for those huge team fights? That's right, when Klexo had the package. He's able to step to the enemy team. Most of them happen to just be standing on that package. Burning, we saw in that last team fight where Hamlet just got absolutely melted. And good lord, like, props to Klexo here, because I feel like this was a package diff this game.
Serious package diff for sure. Yeah, I just think Akuma honestly played well all around. They knew what their goals were. They had their win conditions in front of them on the wall, probably checkmarked.
Hopefully.
And they executed very well for this game 1. I'm very, very happy to see that. Now, on the other side, I do think that Gothboy Clique had a ton of control in this game early on, but that's kind of what you were going for. And you had some scaling elements, but in those team fights, the execution just wasn't there. Akuma pulled it off so well, and it was a lot of grouping and a lot of just kind of turtling there for GBC, and that's not necessarily the best thing when you're going into all this AoE damage, all this Akuma damage coming through. So I'm really hoping to see a little bit of maybe a more initiative on the meta in the jungler position next game, or a little bit of difference in that position at least.
Yeah, because neither of these junglers, they didn't exactly do the most early on, and we were hyping that up a little, trying to see what they would happen to do. However, we didn't necessarily see that. We saw a lot of farming and then just a very gradual, slow build-up. Granted, it did work out in both teams' favors, technically, since they both scale fairly well and they both scale fairly evenly, but Akuma, they're just able to get that one little edge, thanks to the package. Thanks to both their AD carries just being able to maul away, and they take the all-important game number 1 here, Lemons. So if you're on the side of Gothboy Clique, you're going to have to maybe change a little something up for this game number 2. It doesn't have to be drastic, but it has to be noticeable.
It has to be noticeable. Your back's up against the wall. It's unfortunate if you, I guess not super unfortunate, but it is never fun to get 2-0 swept. So I expect them to come back swinging. I expect them to have something laid out for us, and I expect to have a lot of action in game number 2. But speaking of game number 2, we're going to go ahead and send it to a break while we get ready for you, but don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you didn't touch the browser because we are back with game number 2 of the Divine League losers bracket, round number 2. Honestly, this whole title is like say it 10 times fast, bet you can. We have Akuma Katanas versus the Goth Boy Clique. Akuma Katanas taking game number 1. Not whole-handedly. It was back and forth for a long portion of the game. It was about 40 minutes long, but Akuma Katana's scaling came online. They activated their Megazords, and it all worked out for them, apparently. But they took game number 1 pretty well towards the end. But we are into the picks and bans of game number 2, where it is GBC who need to step it up and pull off something great here. We see Graves, Senna, Olaf banned away on the blue side for GBC. Akuma on the red side take away the Wukong Volley Bear and Lysandra. Ashe, first pick for GBC, going to take that one away from them. But the Karma Caitlyn lock-in for Akuma, a little bit BM, no?
A little bit of a no you, but I mean, the Ashe is taken away, so kind of natural to take the Caitlyn since a lot of the meta AD carries right now, they do have a little bit of a losing matchup into that Ashe. Caitlyn is one of the ones who are technically even because Ashe has a very dominant laning phase herself, just thanks to her long range, thanks to her poke, thanks to her somewhat pseudo safety, and of course there is always the utility of the Hawkshot. I've had some people call it the most broken basic ability in the game. I beg to digress because you have to remember it is on an immobile ADC. Tends to kind of get jumped on quite a bit. Shen and Thresh, though, going to be the responses here coming out from the Goth Boy Clique.
I like that combination, especially the Shen with the global help. Just make sure that you can get around these carries or get in for a good play. The Thresh going to be that secure pick for the bot side, and especially just the engage that you may be missing a little bit of last game around. But it is up to what Akuma want to pick up for the third pick here, and they have Mordekaiser highlighted and locked in.
And the Mordekaiser into the Shen is going to do fairly well. I don't know the interaction between Stand United and the Death Realm. I know the interaction between when you use the Stand United on someone who gets put in the Death Realm, you do technically still give them the shield. You do technically still teleport right where they are, quote unquote. They're just still in the Death Realm and you're outside of it. Whether it's the Mordekaiser or whether it's the enemy. And I'm going to be looking towards that and see what the interaction is. However, though, Akuma, they're going to be taking away the Kha'Zix here. And Kha'Zix has risen to prominence in this past patch or two, thanks to the recent buffs he got to his isolation damage boost.
And he's that snowbally, aggressive jungler that we were really hoping GBC would pick up for the meta this time around. They pull it away. Akuma say, we know what you want to go for. We don't want to let you have it. The Doubtful Kindred is going to be banned away here, though. So he's getting 2 target bans. 3, actually. But it's a lot of jungle focus for GBC, which honestly you can kind of applaud them for, because Doubtful did have a very strong performance in game number 1. The Zillion is the last ban for Akuma, though. So they want to take away that little bit of extra flexibility potential. Corki, the last ban for GBC.
Yeah, just taking away that Corki that worked so well for Akuma last game. I'm curious to see what the picks are here, because Akuma, they do technically have a little bit of flex potential still with this Karma. They can try and lock in a jungler here and just leave it up in the air of whether or not this Karma is mid or whether it's support. Of course, if you want to get as much of a counter pick as possible in that jungler role, yeah, there it is. Whew. Yeah, there's the Hecarim, and that is one of Doubtful's more played champions in solo queue. And I'm going to be curious to see how it rolls here, because Hecarim, he is traditionally picked. He needs to snowball. He needs to get ahead. He scales incredibly well with levels. He scales incredibly well with his first, 2-ish items. When he has the Triforce, when he has the jungle item, when he also has those boots, that's when he is super strong. And when you combine that with a level lead, it can be nasty. But of course, when you put a Hecarim behind, he kind of falls flat. He charges in with the onslaught, and then he just kind of dies.
It can be a little bit rough for sure. I'm a big Hecarim player, so I'm pretty excited to see this. I want to see how Doubtful wants to pull it off and where he wants to go for. I think the biggest change for me recently, I guess not recently anymore, but maybe like a month ago that they did, that I honestly never saw anything about, but it was a change, is the Blast Cone interaction with his charge. Instead of being able to run into the Blast Cone now and get knocked back from where you were charging, you actually charge through it. You get launched a little bit further, but it doesn't like. I always use those as I'm gonna charge around it and then come into it so I can get away. But now you just go straight through, which is cool in most aspects, but you can't really. The first time doing it, it kind of freaks you out because you're like, oh my god, this is not what I've known for so long.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of extremely niche, though. I mean, we might see
It
it at
is, but
some point
that's
this
just,
game because people do have a tendency to hit those blast cones, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is at least maybe one point in this game where we do have to see Doubtful having to run away or run towards someone and then hit a blast cone with that little pony charge of his. Still, though, I mean, that kind of just speaks to how uneventful of a season it's been so far for this hack room, where the one change you mentioned, the one major quote-unquote change is his interaction with a single ability and blast cones. It's like,
They don't want him to succeed. They're putting him down. They don't want the pony success story. I did want to highlight the last bands here because we did get off on a little tangent, and I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I have a special place in my heart for Hecarim, and it's a little weird. GBC they pick up the Kane and the Victor as the last pickup for themselves. Akuma lock in that Vel'Koz, so very volatile matchup in the mid lane, especially.
Yeah, because I mean, Vel'Koz, he's traditionally a pick that has always technically been pickable in a pro meta. It's just he's extremely hard to pilot within a composition. It's hard to play around him. It's just that he has to play the game in a little certain way. He has to play the poke game. He has to play the combo game. He is vulnerable, so you do have to protect your little baby Vel'Koz, but you're able to play around him well. If you're able to play around him greatly, then you will reap the rewards here. I'm looking towards Klexa in that mid lane, Lemons, because Vel'Koz, he can do a hell of a lot of damage.
Yes, he can, but Victor can as well. And that's nothing to shy away from, especially because I think that Victor in the later parts of the game can just be so strong. I think a lot of it is going to, again, as in game number 1, come down to the meta, come down to Doubtful, how they want to dictate the pace of the game, where they're going to be pathing, who they want to be affecting, because I would expect that the meta is going to focus on this bot or the mid laners, as Shin always being that global. You want to play away from it so he can utilize that. You can't, if Mordekaiser's pushing into those shock pulls being super aggressive, you can punish that, of course. But I expect meta to be looking towards the bottom side of the map at least. And for the Hecarim, honestly, you just have your pick here. You just have a feast in front of you potentially that you can just take pickings from.
That's true, but the thing is with the Hecarim is like there has always been a little bit of a misconception about his early game. I know, at least historically speaking, in the past, yeah, a lot of people, they think like he has a very strong early game. He's actually a little bit weak in that early game. It is a little bit easy to bully him around if you invade him at the right time. Of course, with the introduction of Conqueror, of course, with the introduction of Predator, has made Hecarim's life easier. More so, we do see the Conqueror nowadays instead of that Predator, since Predator in a slightly bad spotting, I mean, the Conk is bonk, as I like to say, Lemons. It is kind of a little bit of a strong rune, to put it lightly.
Yeah, and it works so well with him because he can stack them up pretty quickly, and he just gets the healing that his kit already provides him, but he gets even more from that Conqueror, so it feels really good. But I mean, these are the compositions. This is what we're gonna see go down onto the Rift, and I'm feeling a lot like game number 1, where it's probably gonna be a long way. It's feeling like both teams are just showing up in an extent where it's going to go to the late game. You're gonna see those big team fights. You're gonna see those big decisive plays that just dictate the entirety of the game. It could also just be a stomp. We could see a snowball, but I'm really hoping that we get to see a lot of action and see the best of these players. And honestly, I'm really hoping that GBC bring us to game number 3. But that being said, we're going to go to a spectator delay for a little bit. Don't touch that browser. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have arrived, and we are in game number 2 of the Divine League Losers Bracket, round number 2, between Akuma,
Oh, the double
Katanas,
spice.
and Goth Boy Clique. Yeah, we see double spice coming out. The spice is the spice of life.
The Spice Girls are back. Let's go. It's early 2000s.
Every spice pun you could ever think of, ladies and gentlemen. But we do have both teams going with 5 stacks of their respective sides. More than likely, nothing's gonna happen here. Could
We
see some
could
later level 1 stuff though. That's what I'm looking for.
look at this pathing though, because technically they do have a 5-man flank here on the man of their choice, and Shockbull just might be that guy. Look at him.
Oh no, they should have stayed up there. They would have had shock pool. They still do though. Essentially, the slow is gonna be there. Shock pool flashes so quickly. He's not gonna hit the grass backwards though, and yeah, that shock pool is gonna go down. Is meta? Oh, first blood going over to Hamlet. That's fine though. That's fine.
That is very strong, though, giving Victor first blood, since he used to have the curse of having to back later than other mages just due to his Hex Core passive. However, there were some changes a few seasons ago to make the blue book, the Lost Chapter. That's what it's called. I knew it last game. I don't know this game. Blue book. There's the yellow pages, and now we have the blue book. Either way, though, putting this Victor ahead, that is always scary, because Victor does scale up very nastily. If he's able to get an early back here, get the free evolution of his choice on that Hex Core, that's just always so scary to deal with, because do you level up the Death Ray first? That's usually what you see, because it does give you that extra back. It does give you that extra wave there. But there are some players, I believe, who level up the Gravity Pool first. That's a nice hook.
Forbidden just going for that extra little bit of poke, but little did he know he was going to get a lot put back down onto him, and Meta showing his face in mid lane just a little bit there. Going to be going to his side of the red jungle to farm up, but still a lot of aggression from Knight of the Zed and Nahor down there on the bot side, and I like to see it this early on. They're still getting pushed in heavily by Pursuer and Forbidden though because of the poke damage they have, but I think they're handling it pretty well.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back a few seconds to when Meta walked through that mid lane, because I absolutely love that. He pathed immediately to his bot side. Now they think he took his own red buff, and we can see this hacker and Ford Doubtful going in, but think of the collapse potential from this Victor. It does look like the Wolves are coming out for the meta, so this hacker might just get off scot.
He might. That would
gonna take a quick peek.
Now.
There's still 1k health on the buff. Here's the meta.
Yeah. They're gonna go for the full fight though. Meta gave up the Wolves to get there. Yeah, he's right on the backside of it, but Doubtful gonna pick it up. He's just gonna go through Yoshishi. The taunt's coming through though. Doubtful, you're gonna just be caught here as Meta is gonna pick up that kill. And now already 2 up. That hook did not land, but I guess it did. Forbidden just getting a little bit of fright before his eyes, but still 2-0 in favor of GBC, starting out a lot like last game.
And they put the Hecarim behind here, Lemons. Like, that is just so massive. He was able to path from blue to wolves to enemy blue, and he dives there. That is just so awful as this Hecarim, who can get put behind so easily if you die even once early on, and die once it happened. And the meta, he's able to get the souls of his choice there, since he was able to get a decent chunk of soul points down onto Doubtful. This early on, soul points, they are worth a decent chunk. Of course, they do scale up as the game goes on, so you are at least able to evolve eventually, and I'm looking for the meta to try and push this minor advantage he has. Maybe try and get a little bit of Finicky down. I like this. He is stealing away the Raptors, so definitely pushing the advantage, but look in the mid lane here. We might see a little gank coming up from this Hecarim.
Yeah, Doubtful is going to get the angle here on the Hamlet. He's going to try to get over to his jungler buddy.
He has the cavalry.
You see it. Yeah, you got to be careful. This is just going to be a 2v2 at this point. And Doubtful, they don't want to take that one. They back away. Another hook lands. My goodness. Pursuer going to get dropped pretty low, but those headshots coming through. That's a trap. Can he get the one down? He did not, as not getting the trap there, but Doubtful. Ooh, nice move, Doubtful. That's what I like to see from the Hecarim player, using the jungle against them. But he's still going to be in some serious trouble here.
Ignite. Doubtful, you can commit.
Oh, Doubtful. Try to get some Fs in chat, please.
Please drop some fatty Fs in chat.
He used the Ignite too.
He used the Ignite. He barely picked up any farm from his last death. He's already so far behind. He's 600 gold down. If our lovely Meow Meow producer could take a quick look at the gold here, so our viewers can see the gold differential between these two junglers. It is very nasty for this early on into the game. 2 kills worth of gold. That is very big when we're talking about a junglers here early on, since jungle items, the first items, the warrior, the magus items, they are very cheap and they are a very nice spike for the junglers, since they do get that lower economy. And if you're able to get yours sooner and the enemy jungler is just sitting on their own skirmisher saber, well, your enemy is in a quite tricky situation here.
So I do like the strategy from, oh my god, I don't know what to say anymore. There's a magnet. There's gotta be. I really love that Akuma have consistently now for 2 games taken the 3 TPs. It just gives them that much momentum control in the later parts of the game, and we saw it be really helpful last game. And I'm looking at that a lot here. I mean, I do expect that it is still 3-0, and JBC are gaining themselves a decent lead, but we saw last game how much that really matters. And I just see a lot of potential from the side of Akuma.
They definitely do have the potential. You do have the Caitlyn scaling in your back pocket. You do, of course, have the Vel'Koz scaling in your back pocket. And there is always the split push threat of that Mordekaiser. Interesting enough, though, Shock Pull, he did go for the grass this game. I wanted to mention that earlier. Kind of forgot due to the whole level 1 shenanigans there where he did drop. Typically, you do see the Conquer, especially into the Shen, who you're going to be able to outlast eventually. But instead, just going for the grasp here, it's going to give you that extra little bit of beefiness. It's going to give you a little bit of healing, too, just like that Conqueror. And curious to see how it pans out here. That was an early Cloud Dragon, picked up for the Goth Boy Clique, and they are going to be appreciating that when you look at their team. They, of course, have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Stand Unite. Those are the 2 big standout ultis here, Lemons, when it does come to that reduced ultimate CD, but I don't think any other member is going to be complaining about a lower cooldown on their ultimate build.
So, I agree. I think that 10% is going to be big. I want to pivot, though, and look at the fact that Doubtful has hit level 6 before meta. And yes, you are O2 on the Hecarim, but you're a horse, and you can speed around that jungle, my man. And he's gotten a little bit of a lead in the levels, at least. And it's not big, okay, but after being put down so early for the Hecarim, to see him still trying to at least thrive is good.
It does help out quite a bit, especially when you are that far down. The levels are going to matter here. Now that he has the level 6, now that he has the Onslaught of Shadows, he can be looking to a lot of these lanes. So you're like, if Knight of Zed and Nahor push up in his bot lane, that's very easy. Like so, he's going to get poked out here, but he's going to be able to just run out of that Chaos Storm, thankfully, on this Vel'Koz. However, though, going back to my previous point, Doubtful, you can even look in the mid lane towards Hamlet here. There is still no flash on that Victor. Of course, now without that ultimate.
2 minutes.
So close.
And you still have Meta looking to get his form at this point and still trying to get the essence for himself. He's been steadily working there, but it hasn't been as active as possible, probably. And 9 minutes in, if you're having a really good game, maybe. But I do want to see Meta turn up the gas a little bit here and really try to pick up some of these essences for himself, get this transformation going, because we all know how lackluster Kane can be if you don't get that transformation as early as you can.
I was actually talking with some people yesterday in a voice chat, fellow casters, and I believe one of them once brought up the fact that the longest Kane transformation they ever saw was about 30 minutes, and I was like,
oh my god. At that point, just FF. Like, no, I'm just joking. That's just a rough time. That's real rough. Now, another dragon, though, it's going to be an Infernal Dragon in about 2.5 minutes. So no Infernal Soul this game. It could be the Mountain Soul or the Ocean Soul. I like it. But yeah, both teams going to be really looking for this Infernal Soul when it does come up. Still, again, 2 minutes away. So a lot of setup time for these meta just going to the mid lane. Show himself a little bit, just show off his pretty little blue buff and some of his abilities, get a little bit of gold. Rift Herald available. Don't know if it's going to be the priority here. Doubtful, though, looking for the level advantage kill here onto meta. He's going to get a lot of healing coming down. That's the Stand United.
Mid laners.
Here. Yep, that's nice move from the Onslaught of Shadows. Not a nice move for Klexo, who got caught watching, and he just gets pincered off and taken down.
That was a beautiful Ashe ulti, though. So props to Nida Zed there for landing that cross map, everybody. A little round of applause. Either way, though, now it's 4-0 and the favorite Goth boy Clique here. It's actually not that huge of a lead when you look at the gold. That's because there has been farm leads across the board here, except for Nahor in that support role. And I'm looking to Goth boy Clique here because you're getting all these kills. But you're down in farm, so it's fairly even, so you definitely got the chops. Now I need you to transition those chops to the mid game here. Get it? And advantage. That's what you want to see, because kill leads, they can't always be deceptive, Lemons. Like, there are a lot of times where you will see, like, oh man, it's like a, let's say, 8 to 10 kill lead, 23 minutes in. You're like, oh darn, that must be pretty close. But thing is, there's just so many other factors when it comes to gold. We already mentioned the CS. There's, of course, towers and various other little knick-knack pettywecks across the map that can give you those little clinking bags of cash. So, Goth boy Clique, I'm looking to you guys. You certainly got the moves. Now I want you to put those moves to use.
We all do, but we could be potentially seeing their moves on display in about 20 seconds, as Dragon has, or is going to be spawning. We see already positioning from Akuma around the pit. TP not available for Shock Pull, so he either needs to make the commitment to start walking, or Yoshishi's going to have the advantage as his TP is available, and that will change the fight. It will transform the fight and make it to where it's a little bit more sketchy, I would say, for Akuma.
Of course, though, if Akuma want to, they might just be able to bait out this teleport here, because with how the waves have been crashing down in this top lane this past minute, you can try and force that out. There's the teleport being forced out. Let's see what happens here.
Anti-Crystal Arrow weaves through, lands onto Forbidden. It's actually going to be stolen away. That's going to be Meta picking up that Dragon. Forbidden's just going to give his life to sacrifice, and 5-0, a much different game coming out from GBC in game number 2, and Meta on a killing spree now.
Oh, Nahor, look for the magic, the flash, but with the response flash, I don't think Amla's going to be able to catch up here. Victor is definitely a little bit of a speedy boy, especially once he upgrades that Siphon charge of his, I believe it is, the Q there. Either way, though, they're able to get a kill. They're able to get that Infernal, get a little bit of extra scaling in their pocket, get a little bit of extra gold in their pocket, and Goth boy Clique, they definitely are feeling quite fine and dandy in this game number 2, Lens.
They definitely are. And they're setting themselves up right for game number 2, especially.
Oh, and the meta. Let's take a look at him. If our observer could pan over to the meta, let's take a look at this boy. He got his evolution. That was pretty big. He's now Rost. That's going to be quite nasty when you are into the second. When you are into this Mordekaiser, of course that AoE knockup, just always so nasty to deal with on the Rost. That's why you typically see more people take the Rost, because with the Conqueror, you can still put out fairly decent damage, especially against those tanky targets. He can still 1v1 the 80 carries. And yeah, the meta, he's got to be feeling pretty fine right now, Lemons, with his 3-kill lead. He's picked up a Rift Herald. He's, you know, a little behind in CS, but you'll take that if it means you're this far ahead in every other metric.
Yeah, and now you can use this Rift Herald to your advantage as well. You do see Akuma get a nice amount of gold on the bot side. That's what's been catching my eye this whole time, though, is Pursuer on this Caitlyn has developed a 30 CS lead as well, has gotten a ton of plates and about a 1k gold lead for himself. Yes, that's not a lot, but at least Akuma are getting something here. That Disintegration Ray is going to reign true, but not going to get the kill for Klexo, who's going to get dropped in on by Doubtful. And this could just be the turnaround. The Hecarim coming through. He's going to get the burn on 1 kill. Doubtful gets taken down, though. Meta able to go on a rampage. Can he get away? Forbidden is on the chase. He just needs one more Inner Flame, but that's the Stand United coming to save the day. And that's a lot going over, but 1 kill finally in Akuma's side, and it's 6-1.
Oh, but once again, Goth boy Clique, they did come out on top. Sure, they have to blow a lot, but of course, Akuma, they also have to blow a lot there. Keep in mind, though, they did also get that first tower. Sure, they weren't able to secure all the plates there since it was dropped a tiny bit late. Either way, though, you take those lemons. If you trade 1 for 1 and get a tower off the back, You'll love that. You didn't give up the giant shutdown on the meta right now. You give up your mid laner. I believe there might have been a mini shutdown on him, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, there was. So you do give a little bit of extra gold on over.
Yoshishi's just getting just handled under his tower there by Shockpool. So at least the revenge comes out for his teammates.
That's cool. Okay. My client forgot to go back to direct camera after I clicked on the meta. So I was like, what? Oh, yeah, he did die in that top lane. But yes, that is the scaling factor for this Mordekaiser. And that's even with this component man build he has going on. He has the Seeker's Arm Guard. He has the Bramble Vest. He has the Hunting Guys. It's like, buddy, decide on something. But it seems to be working out for him already. And it's just funny for me, Lemons, when I always look at these builds. It's like, please, just make up your mind here. You gotta finish at some point, buddy. But he did finish off Yoshishi, so I guess he did finish something.
The script does stay alive for game number 2 here. We get another Mountain Soul on the Rift with the first Mountain Dragon coming out in a minute's time. And it's so rough for Akuma because you're still waiting. You need to wait. You need to not take big fights, but you can't let them go on soul point already. And like go forward in a space where you have to go from no dragons to 4 dragons to even have a hope. And you can't put yourself in a position like that. But also you're waiting on this Trinity Force for Doubtful. You're waiting on these pickups and you're just trying to bide your time.
And if they want to, they can't potentially give them this dragon, because you can make a case for they do come back a little bit in scaling. Mountain Soul, it isn't the end of the world, especially when you look at how mostly squishy the enemy team comp is here. Knife Zed, he's going to be getting like 4 MR tops, I want to say, and maybe like 6 armor tops. Of course, Nahor, he's going to be getting a little more juice. Never mind, Kinetic Crystal Arrow.
Going to connect onto the Pursuer, who is your main carry. That's all your damage. And now next is Forbidden to Fall. Doubtful is trying to do as best he can against meta, but he's just going to be caught out. And man, GBC just take an easy fight. It's just like knife through butter here.
God, you reminded me all of those YouTube videos, Lemons, where I think at least a few people in the chat can remember. I don't know if you remember, Lemons, where everybody was getting those recommendations for those knife videos of can a 1,000-degree knife cut your axe? But the 1,000-degree knife, that is the Gothboy Clique, they are able to take the team fight up here. They're able to get some more kills. They're able to get themselves onto that salt point, and that is going to be very nice here. Sure, it's still very close here. If we're talking pure monetary gains here, it's only 1.5K separating these two teams. And that's just kind of a testament to most of these CS differentials coming out between the two teams when we can see this 3 dragon differential, when we can see the 7 kill differential, but the gold is more or less even. So, Akuma, I do believe in them. They do still have a chance in this game, Lemons. It's not like they fall off a cliff. Okay, maybe Doubtful does fall off a cliff here with how far behind he has fallen, but that's one member in your jigsaw puzzle of a team comp here.
And honestly, he's not even that far behind. I mean, he's down a level now. He's down only about 900 gold, though. So he still is Hecarim. He's still going to be... Once that Trend Force gets completed, he's going to be feeling just right on par with where everybody else is at. But it's still going to take a little while. And Wrath does not wait for anybody.
God, yeah, Wrath is, it's a divine judgment in the Book of Punishments, because there's no official law-abiding punishment called Wrath. A judge can't sentence you to Wrath. However, though, whatever divine power is up there, they can't sentence you to Wrath. Or maybe your mortal enemy, too. Some people are very spiteful. Shockpool has to be careful here. He does have the ultimate.
He takes Yoshishi, not wanting to let meta by the time, but Yoshishi's still super tanky here. He's buying a ton of time in the Death Realm. This could just be Shockpool going over. He's going to try to do as much damage as he can, but he cannot. Yoshishi going to take that kill, get that gold. On the other side of the map, though, it is Akuma trying to respond with a Rift Herald 15 seconds before the Baron spawns. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and, come on. Oh, there's the first to spawn, yeah. Just not able to do it. It was worth a shot.
They committed so much time, though.
Kind of, I mean, it was like maybe 15, 20 seconds tops, I want to say. Either way, they do lose their top laner, and Shockpool hadn't technically finished it item quite yet there, so if we want to put a little bit of pat on my back for saying finishing items is a bit of a key thing here in League of Legends, I'll just quickly pat myself on the back there and ignore the fact that there was a 4-0 Evolved Kayn there coming in and making it 2 versus 1. Yeah, gotta pat myself on the back. Gotta make myself feel like that 200 IQ color caster, because there's one thing color casters pride themselves on. It's being cocky expletive.
Is that color casting?
Yeah, we are the academia of casting. We think we're smart, but we're actually just really dumb.
I see. So it's Akuma figuring out how to approach the later parts of this game. I mean, I guess you know the approach. You farm up until you feel strong enough to wield that giant sword of yours and hope that Pursuer can just dismantle his enemies. But the fact of the matter is, you're gonna have a pivotal. I have to think that Mountain Dragon is very strong in this setup. Yes, you do have some squishier members, but you give over that extra shield, that little bit of engagement, that little bit of extra damage on the top end when Doubtful goes in or when these things happen is not going to be there because that shield is going to soak it. And
for sure, yeah.
So if you give this over, it just gets that much harder, where you've already been having troubles in team fights, not being able to get the targets that you want. It just expands that, and you're not going to have any ground to stand on in these fights.
Yeah, and to clarify what I said, by no means was I saying that Mountain Soul is bad here. Like, obviously, any soul is a good soul. Anybody will take that soul, and everybody appreciates a good shield here. It's just, I don't think it's going to be a game-ending cause here if you do give it over as Akuma. You can, of course, get through this extra resistances for the most part. You can, of course, chip away through that shield thanks to this Vel'Koz, thanks to this Galen. Of course, it just makes your job that much harder. There's the Spooky Ghost for the magic here. There's the Charge Up. There's the Death Realm available. But a lot of jazz happening, but not enough cellos, it seems, on this Rift, as not a lot happens.
Nobody wants to press that beautiful, juicy, succulent R button that is sitting right in front of them. Traps are there. Dragon in about 5 seconds. And Akuma are positioned to take this one, but we've seen this before, and we've seen some problems happen. Meta going in. Here comes the Enchant Crystal Arrow. Flash into it. That's going to be Doubtful. Blown up, and Hamlet just has the angle on it. He's just going to blow up the backline as well. He's popping caps in all of them. Shockpool trying his darndest in the pit, but he's not going to be able to do anything there. Hamlet just going to chase him down. Last one to the grave. And 15-2, Dragon Soul accomplished here for GBC, and they've got everything they could ever ask for, including the Baron that they're going for.
Yes, because now this is a dominant lead, Lemons. Like before, okay, it was at least close, but you take a definitive 5-0. You get yourself the Mountain Soul without giving over a single dragon. Now you're looking to take this Baron too when you already are 3 turrets up. You've already taken down 4 turrets, so there's only those 2 pesky outer turrets remaining, or well, inner turrets remaining. I get them mixed up sometimes because they're technically outside the base, so outer turret. Either way, though, let's see what the contest is. Doubtful, he doesn't have Flash, he does have the Onslaught of Shadows, he does have Smite, he does have a Dream. Look for it, Lemons, there it is.
He's coming across the wall, he gets it, he steals the Baron away. The hopes of Akuma stay alive to take this game. And they committed everything to that Baron, but it was still a 50-50 in the end, and 50-50 goes to Doubtful.
And you take those if you're Akuma. Holy shiitake, to put it in viewer-friendly manners here, to not get demonetized. But this hacker, who's been struggling all game here for Doubtful, he's now 1-6. You can be as far behind as you want. But as long as you're on point with that Smite, as long as you're able to get over that wall, you have a chance at the 50-50, and boy does he win this coin flip here. Maybe you ought to be a professional Hearthstone streamer. There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, being the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Not even hit. I'm surprised it didn't hit.
Something. It does hit something.
But you know, with the talks of the hitbox, I'm surprised that one didn't connect right there.
Just kind of wonky, because I believe the talk of that hitbox was surrounding a Tristana jumping, if I'm not mistaken, or an Ezreal Arcane shifting.
It was the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Yeah, it was against either Ezreal or Tristana.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking
And
about the original. I was like, no, it was. I'm not crazy. I promise.
Ezra throws out the enchanted crystal.
Yeah, of course. I apparently haven't known what I've been saying this whole time when I've been casting League of Legends. My bad.
The shadow step. There's the boogie, but not gonna land anyone in this tango game as meta. He's taken down a half health. He does have healing. Also has shadows.
That's gonna be it. That could be meta going down. That's one. Can they get more? The Akuma Death Ball is going to be scattered by that Chaos Storm. They get 2 for it, but they lose Klexo. They're looking for more. Yoshishi might have extended a little bit too much. Doubtful looking on the edge. He's not going to get the charge. He goes onto the minion. The Death Realm popped onto Yoshishi. This is a 3v2 right now and a 1v1 going on at the same time. Can Pursuer do anything here? Hamlet getting engaged on, but Doubtful gets blasted down. And as well as the top laner, Akuma, this is the gold lead. You can't fight these fights. You're so far behind, and they just shove that gold lead right into their faces and are right back to the top.
God, talk about illegal U-turns here, Lemons, because they should have not turned around that fight, but Akuma, they just caught in the hubris of excitement there. You get the 2 for 1, you're like, yes, we have to push this, but they just get too excited here. Like, take the 2 for 1. You stop the Baron push, at least for now. Maybe you lose that top inner, but you just back off. You stall off the Baron buff, and then you can maybe look to contest the next one. Maybe look to contest the Elder Dragon coming up in 2 minutes, but they get greedy. They got dinner plate eyeballs here, Lemons. They try and force it. They're like, all right, we got a leg. Let's go for the entire torso. They kind of just puked up the rest of the leg there and just end up with maybe a foot remaining there on their side. And boy, oh boy, if I was on the side of Akuma right now, Lemons, I would be just kicking myself over that play. Because you had it, but you blew it.
Just so unfortunate because, like, there's this... It just feels like a car that's, like, making those noises when you're starting it up, but it just doesn't start this time. And it's just you just do it over and over again because this has happened, like, 3 times now where, like, you think they're coming back, they have a good moment, and then they throw it all away. So... game number 2, very different from Akuma from game number 1, where I feel like their decision making was actually pretty on point, and it's what got them the win in that game. So personally, a very good response in game number 2 by GBC.
I mean, it all started off with that level 1 Lemons. They get that spicy invade. They're able to play the game of chicken on 5-man invades, and they come out with that early kill. Of course, the early gold going into the victor's pocket. It always hurts when you're on the enemy team, and they've been able to keep the lead here for the most part this game. Sure, at a lot of points it was fairly close, and to call it a lead might be a slight stretch of the word, but hey, a lead is a lead in the technical terms, and boy oh boy, now when you have 4 dragons to none, you have that mountain soul, you've taken 5 towers, they've taken 1 turret, you have that 5k gold lead, it's 21 kills to 4 kills. That is demoralizing if the enemy here. You are Akuma's, Katanas, like, you do have a shot back in this game, sure, but I'm wondering what the players' mentals are like right now, Lemons, because they had a hard-fought game number 1. They were able to take it eventually and might have been feeling good about themselves. Can't be feeling too good now, as they enchanted...
Yeah, Pursuer's going to have to flash over the wall. It's a big shield from Forbidden, but now they're just scattering, trying to find a way back to getting with their team, which Shockpool comes around. He's the Star Walt defender here.
Oh, 10 seconds till that Elder.
Yeah, Akuma have position around the Elder, but might not be the position
sand coming out.
Want.
There are a lot of ultimates still on the table here. All the ultimates for Akuma, and only really that 89 enchanted crystal arrow down on the opposite side. So you can see an electrifying fight here. That's a good trap. You gotta miss on the pool. There's that death ray coming out, just zoning out these members.
Storm, though, that's what Akuma are waiting for. They're scared. They know they're in a tight corridor, and that Chaos Storm will take about 3/4 of that hallway there.
So,
Yoshishi's a little bit too deep. He flashes for the taunt. He lands 2, and he's getting so much damage put down onto him. They get the shutdown onto Kalen. Meta tried to come in. Shockpool going to go golden in the middle of everything. Disintegration Ray onto Nahor is not going to do it, though. The Akuma health bars are low. Hamlet says, I want me some of that. And he takes 1. The re-engage, though, that's the takedown. Another shutdown going over. That's so much gold into the Kalen's pocket here from this one fight. Can Pursuer take it all? That is the question I have in front of me right now, as they are getting close to this. The Elder Dragon is still started up. Forbidden getting low. Meta going to flash in. Enchanted Crystal Arrow there yet again. Pursuer still almost takes down Nahor, but he goes down too. And they turn back onto the Elder Dragon. Forbidden, the only one here to do anything about it, but Smite is available for the meta, and they're just going to secure this.
There's still technically chance for Forbidden. He's hovering around with his Karma. There's the Stand United, actually. That's how long this fight has gone on for Forbidden. Yeah, it's a done deal. That's going to be the Elder. They're even forcing out the teleport. Shock Pull, you are in a pickle here. Let's call him Pickle Shock. To quote Rick and Morty there. Either way, though, I mean, honestly, to take a quote from the play-by-play book, I feel like this is going to be all she wrote here for Akuma. Like, this game at least.
Sorry. I didn't know you did. The only point I was going to point in, I was going to add in there was you should have done Pickle Pool, because I feel like that's a funnier word to say, but we'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
Pickle Shock! I remember that meme took over the internet, and now no one can say pickle the same ever again, or take Rick and Morty the same ever again. All because of one joke. Kind of fascinating.
How it works, though. Not gonna lie.
You know, if we do hit this game 3, I feel like, oh, never mind, Hook.
You mean if we hit it? We, at this point, I think we're gonna go ahead and go to game number 3. They're just getting caught out left and right. That Elder buff is doing too much work. Doubtful's going for a magical number, steal number 2, but he can't.
No.
And he goes down, and now to use your wonderful line, if they, I guess they don't decide to. I was gonna say if they don't decide to, then that's gonna be all she wrote. But
I think they're deciding pretty hard here, Lemons. I think we're gonna hit the game number 3. We do have all 5 members. They have the Elder. They have the Baron. They
Shockpool? Shockpool's bot?
I don't know. It's a done deal, maybe here. That's what it might feel like.
Going to be it. You do see Shockpool staying down towards the bot side. Akuma, Klexo, and Forbidden are going to be trying to make a defense here. But the Nexus towers are going to fall, and we get to go to a game number 3. There's one more defense coming out, though. The Nexus is the target, though. The kills are still falling down. The last hits go in, and the Nexus falls. We go 1-1 in the series, all tied up heading into game number 3 as GBC take game number 2.
Whew, and they came out swinging their lemons as soon as minute 1. They're able to get that first blood. They're able to just keep the gas going. They're able to keep the kill lead. They're able to keep the gold lead, the objective lead, the tower lead, the Rift Herald lead, and the, well, okay, not the Baron lead because they lost the first one, but they evened up the Baron differential in the end. And we're going to have a game number 3 on our hands, it seems.
I don't know if we told you guys enough, but there's going to be a game number 3. If you weren't sure. Just one more time, there's going to be a game number 3 coming up. But anyways, to break down this game a little bit, it was pretty much like the team swapping places, I feel like, in this game number 2, with GBC really just showing up across the board like Akuma did in game number 1. You had a lot of good performances from Akuma, from everybody. And in this game number 2, you had that exact same thing from Goth Boy Clique, is everybody was popping off. You had an early game start. You got the kill down for the victor, and he just never relented. But then everywhere else, you were winning. And yes, the CS wasn't always in your favor, but the objectives were, the map control was, and that's all you really need in this game.
I mean, it's all about Nexus control in the end. Nexus diff, as some people might say, and CSing, it's definitely important, and it helped keep them in the game. But like you said, there's many more aspects to the Rift here, and just happens that CS isn't enough to make a game here, as we do go to this game number 3.
Indeed, we are. We're going to send it to a little break, ladies and gentlemen. Again, do not touch that browser. This time it's a little bit more of a scary warning, because you got to be here for game number 3. Go get some popcorn, go get some drinks, but come right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have arrived at the last game of the evening between Akuma and GBC. We have had a heck of a journey so far into this best of 3 and very even. So I am just so ready to see what these teams are bringing to the table for this all pivotal game. Because it's do or die here, Go Freno. You lose here, you're out of the tournament. Those are your hopes and dreams being dashed. And hopefully getting these teams set up for themselves is the name of the game. Now, we are into picks and bans already through the first ban phase. We see the Volley Bear, Wukong, Cassandra taken away for Akuma on the blue side. GBC on the red side take away the Ashe, Graves, and Senna. First pick set. First time in this series as well.
Yeah, because I don't think the set was banned in the previous 2 games, as I take a quick check, and he actually wasn't at all. He's been untouched this series, so Akuma, they got something up their sleeve here, because we've been seeing the Ashe first pick this entire time. Well, that and the Karma. Forgot about that. Either way, though, the response is going to be the immediately Caitlyn and Shen here. That Shen in that top lane for not Nahor, people are messed up in the lobby. Yoshishi working out so well. This is why LCS order matters, people. You mix people up, and we don't like being mixed up. We like staying on our groove. Either way, though, Shen was just so great for them last game. The Caitlyn too, but the Sona Lux.
I knew at some point we were gonna get this. We got insider notes, ladies and gentlemen. We had some thoughts before this about potentially seeing the Akuma bot laners playing this combination of the Lux Sona, and we get to see it in game number 3. Everything on the line. You throw your cards you've been holding back, and I'm so excited to see that come down here. Now Kha'Zix does get through here for GBC though, and giving over a very proactive jungler to the meta is going to be a scary fact indeed, as both teams seem to be getting a lot of what they're looking for here, which means we're going to have a spicy game number 3.
I do want to go back to this Kha'Zix Big Air Lemons, because the meta, he can make magic happen on this. Like, we saw what he could do with Kayn last game. Now imagine if you go in as Kha'Zix with that Void Assault, with the Stand United on you. All of a sudden, a bug pops out of the shadows, a ninja from the top lane who's a bit of a tanky boy that also kind of solos your AD carry, also hops out. You're able to just completely decimate the back line before anybody on the side of Akuma knows what the hell hit him. And
that's just so scary to me. It's like a horror movie.
Ooh. A little too early for October, I feel.
I don't know. With quarantine, I'm ready for it. Bring it on. To
be honest, October will just feel like March at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It all feels the same. It all runs together. I am a bit worried because I don't personally know the matchup too well, but I do feel like the aggression from the Caitlyn Morgana against 2 squishy AP bot laners, especially in the Sona and the Lux, if you get one of those combinations off, if say you land a binding, you land the trap underneath, you get the net as well, I mean that's their health bar completely gone, and probably at no matter what state in the game either.
You do have to remember though that of course Lux, thanks to the light binding, thanks to the Lucid Singularity, has insane range potential over the Caitlyn, since those abilities are fairly long range lemons, and you can bring a lot of hurt in this bot lane with that Sona. You're gonna have the double dipping in the shields there thanks to the Hymn of Valor, I want to say. Either way though, you're also going to be getting the healing too from the Sona, and it can be pesky to deal with. I'm curious to see how this bot lane goes, because like you say, if one binding lands, especially onto that Sona, who's just oh so squishy, basically a glorified cannon minion for a huge portion of the game, it can be a little rough.
And we finally see the compositions locked in here. Akuma secured that Scion and Olaf for themselves to give them a Silas instead of the Scion, apologize. And it's going to be the Olaf. Yeah, I know. Gotta love it. Olaf, though, for Akuma is going to be a strong pick for themselves. Going against the Kha'Zix, going to be a bit scary, though, for sure. As we said, we've already mentioned horror movie. GBC, though, they take the double ADC composition.
And that double ADC composition was the one that did technically win the game number 1. I guess they're trying to make up for the lack of AD carries on the side of Akuma here. However, though, Akuma, they do have a lot of potential here for brawling. You have a Silas, you have an Olaf, you have a Set. You know what that screams to me, Lemons? It screams to me, we are fighting. We are punching, we are getting up in your face, and we are just absolutely mauling you. Of course, the Sonalex, that does add a little bit of much needed range to your composition, and they probably won't be going in with you, but hey, you will have the backup of that final spark. There might be a Flash Crescendo coming out too, and Black Shield be damned when you're just able to kill the Caitlyn with just flat out damage. And kill that Corki too. 2-for-1 deal.
It's going to be a very tight game here. And honestly, I know I've already said it twice before, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. Doubtful and the meta are the keys to this game. We've seen them have so much influence over these matchups, especially around the objectives, especially around just team communication, especially, and like the decisions being made in the team fights. And yes, you have these carries on other lanes. You've gotten some gold in there, but it's always these engages. It's always the pace of the game set by these two. And I think in game number 3, it's going to be even more important.
Oh, of course it's going to be more important. It's game number 3, because if you don't set the pace of the game here, well, you might just be out and about from this loser's bracket, because like we said, it's do or die for both these teams at this point. And I do we are seeing some new slugs coming to the scene here. They haven't shown all their fists yet. They haven't shown all their punching techniques here. Both these teams, they got a few more boxing gloves in the back pocket, it seems, and setting up for maybe a potential exciting game number 3 here, Lemons.
You said slugs, and all I can think of are people wielding slugs as like boxing gloves.
I mean, you do speak French, so I heard you eat a few.
Wow, go Farino. Wow. All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take it away, and I'm going to go beat up on Go Farino a little bit. I've also got to finish my beef jerky to get ready for this game number 3. Just going to shout out to beef jerky. Keeping it real. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready for this game number 3. We had a little bit of client issues, so we're getting that all sorted for you, but we're going to cut it to a little break while we get ready for it and get through Spectre Delay. Don't go anywhere, because we have the final game in this best of 3 coming right at you. We are back with game number 3 of the Divine League Losers Bracket Round 2 matchup of Akuma Katanas and Goth Boy Clique. We have made it to the final game of the series, and with some very different comps that have developed along the way, Gopherino.
This is definitely a new sort of game, especially when you look over to the side of Akuma. Like, they're bringing out the Sona Lux here. Like, we've been seeing that pop up recently. I haven't seen it myself, at least, but probably going to be a little bit of a no fun zone in this bot lane since it's going to be hard to break through those shields.
Well, so it all comes down to how Akuma like to play the game. And what they're really looking to do is they're looking to get Doubtful and get Klexo ahead. This jungle mid synergy, this jungle mid duo. So what they like to do is they like to get a supportive style bot lane, which not gonna lie, there's nothing more supportive than a Sona and Lux down there, which is something they've been picking up a lot recently. And to see the combination come out, we've been seeing in pro, to see it here in the amateur stage and being picked up by Pursuer and Forbidden. I'm really excited to see what it can accomplish here. But really, it's just to springboard the true carries of this team here in the jungle and mid.
And our producer, Meow Meow the Mowgli, was just saying, oh boy, I hope there's no pauses this game as we're loading in. And I guess we have a little bit of producer curse going on as the pause does come out. There is a little bit of a connectivity issues coming out on the side of Goth Boy Clique here, specifically for one of their laners, as does look like Akuma. They are ready to go. They are rearing to go in this game, ready whenever, and hopefully we do get back into this action soon here.
And I just think it's so cool to see the compositions that are coming out. We had the double ADC composition now for GBC. We've seen it go both ways. We've seen it on both sides of the table, and they want to pick it up the last time around. They want to get Knight of the Zed on this Caitlyn, which he looked so good on in game number 1, and they want to see if he can pull out another performance like that. Meanwhile, they have a much different approach in the jungle this time, where they are looking for meta to snowball, for meta to carry.
And that's what you kind of have to do in Kha'Zix here. Like, Kha'Zix isn't a power farming jungler, unless you do want to power farm for that level 6. You can make a case for that. However, he isn't the type of jungler where you just sit back and hope your lanes win the game, because you have to make the magic happen on him. You have to get some kills going. You have to be able to snowball on him a little bit so you can get those nasty one-shots off in team fights.
Indeed you do, and you already see, man, level 1, those shields are so strong down there on the bot side.
I mean, that's double Guardian bot lane for you. That's the Sona Lux for you. Like, I can't say I've really seen this bot lane before. I have heard of it existing, but I know one thing's for sure. As soon as I saw, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be really annoying to deal with all those shields, because it kind of is.
And it's just strong into the later parts of the game, and their composition lends to that, to where you are trying to get into the mid game, get some gold on some of these specific champions, and springboard that forward. As I have already used that kind of methodology, but it's true. On the other side, the double ADC composition, yes, you have some mid game bridges, you have some gap closers in meta who is looking to get carrying from the beginning and continue it, but you also have Hamlet on the Corki. You have this Caitlyn, who are going to be very strong later in the game, and that ADC scaling is no joke. So you have good strengths on both sides of the matchup.
Oh, that binding just going on there. I was trying to psych myself up a little for that one. Sadly, it does not land, and like you said, there is always that scaling factor for the Goth Boy Clique when you have the double 80 carry. And I'm looking towards Doubtful here, because he's currently grabbing this scuttle. He does have access to both mid and bot lane here with how far pushed up they are, and he can try and make something happen on the solo. If you have CC in both lanes to just lock him down, you of course have the undertow to slow him yourselves, and it looks like mid lane's going to be the call here. Hamlet, he does have flash, he does have Valkyrie, there's the Haymaker. Let's see what else happens here. This looks like it's going to be a little bit of a recall coming out of the bush here from Doubtful. Just the standard jungle recall. That's a great little binding. Into the trap. Into the Piltover Peacemaker. Nope.
That's that squishiness we talked about in draft, and the one combination from the Caitlyn Morgana landing it down, and they are so low now. Yes, they have a lot of healing to get themselves back up and a lot of sustain, but that happens a little bit later in the game, that's a death. That's not you getting away. That could just be the end of your life.
And importantly here, Lemons, take a look at Pursuer's mana pool. It is very low on this Sona, and Sona is historically a champion who does have to chug through a lot of mana with her spells. Shock Pull, going at it in the top lane with Yoshishi. Not having the best of it, however, in that extended trade does miss the sweet spot on that Chain Lash, so a little sad. There is the bind.
Yeah, here it comes again. The Black Shield's going to buy a lot of the damage onto Knight of the Zed. Can they get it all the way down? Piltover Peacemaker, the heal comes out finally there from Forbidden as he's forced to use that summoner spell. The binding lands. They have the damage here. Flash forward. That's a big shield though. Knight of the Zed, he flashes the Piltover Peacemaker, pulls out the emote, and Pursuer with the outplays in game number 3.
What just happened? That's the thing though with
Portal
this
combat, baby.
So many heals, you're like, all right, we got out the summoner heal. We got out the barrier, or the W from the Lux. We got out the W from the Sona. She's lone man. But of course, there's that barrier. There's a few more heals in the tank. And just as I was getting ready to praise Knight of the Zed and Nahor here in the spot lane for keeping up the pressure, not necessarily going full on in, since there is always so many heals and shields to deal with, they go in and deal with those heals and shields. And now it's going to kind of suck a little. Of course, since the Sona Lux lane, they aren't looking to really dominate. They're looking more so just to annoy, more so to harass. We only see the tier and the little bit of the mini Magi's coming out here, and the Fiendish Codex actually for Forbidden. So it's going to hurt a little on the Lux. Either way, though, I don't think it's going to be the end of the line here for the spot lane. Thankfully, if you're on Goth Boy Clique's fanboy club. So they are at least able to say they have that in their pocket. It's not the end of the world. They do have an Infernal Dragon in their pocket. A little bit of extra AD and AP this early on in the game doesn't hurt, even if it is only a smidge.
Yeah, they were able to get a good positioning on there, and they were able to just sneak out that dragon before a response was coming out from Doubtful. So at least they get that for them and get started early on the objectives, which have been so important in this series so far.
Yeah, I mean, oh, that's a good binding, actually, but the 90 caliber neck and take Knight is to safety there. But yes, like you were saying, the objectives have been so important in this game. Like, first game, it was very even, and of course, we saw the objectives were very even between both teams. In game number 2, well, the objectives, for the most part, were very heavily in the favor of Goth Boy Clique there, and they just happened to win there and get a decentish gold lead into a very big gold lead for themselves there, so I'm also going to be looking at the objectives here, Lemons. Of course, with it only being 7 minutes in, we haven't even had the Rift Herald spawn, so it's only been that one Infernal Dragon, not even too much in terms of plates here. In fact, nothing in terms of plates, so there's a lot to write down in the history of this series. Yet this game, as the top does land in this top lane Shock Pool. A little bit of danger. He does have the Olaf here. There is the hijack.
That's a huge wave, though. Shock Pool can't do anything, but it doesn't matter, actually, because the axes are way too strong for Shen to deal with. Doubtful picking up his first kill on the Olaf. Feeling really good to get that pick rolling. And good stuff from Shock Pool to pull off of that. There was such a big wave down there. You just don't want to get caught in a bad predicament. But actually, it's a nice trap underneath the wall there. Oh my god. That is so dirty.
That is the thankful thing here, but going back to that top lane, I feel like Yoshishi maybe a little bit too greedy with that flash. Maybe as soon as he saw the Olaf, maybe you pop that flash, maybe you have a chance to getting out. Of course, you do also have the Stand United, so maybe you just channel that for a quick port out. It's not like the Olaf can really stop. He doesn't have the hard CC, so Shock Pull would have to be the one who braves that. Either way, though, that is history, and getting a kill on this Olaf very big, getting an assist onto Silas, very handy too for Shock Pull here in this top lane, since he is going to hit that point where he's going to be able to deal with a lot more damage from the Shen, where he's going to be able to heal up a lot of damage from the Shen. That's a beautiful route under the tower there. That's going to be some annoying damage to deal with. There is no Lux ultimate just quite yet, so you won't have to deal with that final spark. However, though, it is going to be annoying. You do have low mana, so I'm wondering if Knight Design Nahor just choose to back here.
So I'm a little bit worried for meta, and it's still early in the game. I would have really liked to see him getting active, and so far he's just been farm festing it up. You have an Olaf on the other side of the board who is literally built for that. I'm a little perplexed at why the meta hasn't been trying to get active early. He's just been really focusing on the farming. He did get the dragon early and that kind of stuff too, but there have been opportunities for him to really get a good start into a lane gank, but he hasn't gone for them.
But I mean, also you look at the lanes here, the bot lane, they've been kind of constantly pushed up. They haven't really been letting go of gas and let push back towards them. Yeah, Shishi in the top lane, well, we saw him nearly at the tower there with that massive wave before Doubtful came up, so maybe it is a matter of looking in the mid lane. Of course, it is always hard to deal with that set in terms of bursting him down. He actually took the heal this game. That's a good little Epson there with the minion wave to back him up, but Yoshishi should be fine here overall in this trade as things very neutral on this map. I say that, of course, as the Shadow Dash lands. As the Absend lands, Yoshishi, he's very low for his troubles here. Let's see what happens.
The trade back and forth, though, Shin with his auto attacks is so much damage. Rift Herald has been started up here by Doubtful. Yeah, that was close. It's nothing gonna happen though.
I thought we'd see something land. Final Spark gonna come out though.
So Rift Herald started up by Doubtful, looking to capture an objective for his team. The Mountain Dragon number 2 coming up in about 30 seconds. So I'm sure that they're gonna look. They get the Rift Herald and are going to try and position for this dragon.
They certainly could, although with the current positioning of Doubtful,
they're gonna get this Rift Herald top.
Yeah, they can just pop it here. Yoshishi's been having to back off, so they can get a lot of plates here. I don't think this will be first tower territory. Oh, that's a great little combo in the bot lane, as they are going to at least get 4 of these plates down. And
they don't have the damage to follow it up now. You still got to be really careful. Ulti's available here. And you've got the snipe, the ace in the hole from Night of the Dead, but he decides not to pull the trigger on that. First tower does end up going down to the top side, though, and the Rift Herald's still going to continue to push as Akuma can just pressure the top of the map there.
And that is a very big first tower there. They're even going to get the second charge off here on the second tower. That takes it under half, which is rather nasty here, Lemons. That is a very huge monetary gain. That is a great trade when you're just trading over a single Mountain Dragon to this enemy composition. Sure, having to deal with a pinch of extra resistances here on both these AD carries and the meta is going to be annoying. And sure, Yoshishi, going to be that tanky boy Shen, going to benefit quite a bit more from that Mountain Dragon. You're like, that's whatever. Like, what's going to matter is these up-and-coming Cloud Dragons, because if they do get the Cloud Soul, that is going to be a little bit harder to deal with. Sure, they don't all have the biggest ultis outside of that Stand United, but that move speed can always be so hard to deal with, especially when you're the Olaf for Doubtful, when you have to run in. You're skill shot reliant, like this Lux here for Forbidden, like having to deal with that extra move speed that sometimes is a little hard to account for. Sometimes you miss a crucial binding, and that can make or break games here. So, honestly, I'm looking at the short term versus the long term here, Lemons. Is it going to be the payoff of the Rift Herald first tower here, or is it going to be the long con payoff of that Cloud Soul?
Cloud Soul is going to be super spicy. I think both teams really could utilize that 10% cooldown reduction, or the ultimate cooldown reduction, really on everybody. And honestly, it gets a little bit scary when you start thinking about 2 or 3 of those dragons going over to either one of these sides, but especially Akuma's, because you give Forbidden, you give Pursuer lower cooldowns to help the rest of their team on top of everybody else having lower cooldowns. That combination, the reason why you pick these just gets more solidified.
And it is gonna be nasty if you have to deal with that. Like,
but they're down 2 dragons, so they've got a long road to climb. But like, if they are able to pull that through, then that's insane. But right now, it's actually just really well positioned from Gothboy Clique to secure it.
They, at least here for the side of Akuma, I mean, they were able to get the short-term game. They were able to get that first tower, that first Rift Herald, all those extra plates on the top side. It is going to be handy. And in fact, if our producer takes a quick look at the gold here, even though it's only an assist and a few CS difference, never mind that fight coming on the top lane. Now the Zed, he's looking for shock pull. There's the steal. There's the Sona. Look for the magic here as that's the W. There's the
flash out though. Yeah, that was nicely played. Hamlet could be getting caught. He uses the Valkyrie, going to get away from that face breaker, and all goes a bit quiet on the top side. Although a root finally lands, that's a lot of damage on the Forbidden, but not going to be able to follow it up because everyone else is there as well. And both teams still playing very conservatively at this point in the game.
It was on a razor's edge there, Lemons, because you felt the fight brewing, but that flash from 9Z able to keep him safe there. The Valkyrie from Hamlet able to keep him safe there. So thankfully, both the 280 carries on the side of the Goth Boy Clique able to get out with their lives there, live to tail another tail, and of course keep farming up these waves, because every wave that does go into these pockets of these 80 carries, that is one step closer to becoming those scary late game 80 carries that we have been hyping up here, Lemons.
Well, and we saw Akuma carry with as well, so
It's true.
there's a lot in this series that has shown why it's beneficial to kind of play this game and get later in the game. And yes, Akuma have 2 kills, but they're kind of playing into the hands of GBC at the point.
Yeah, of course, though, it is very fresh in this game. They do have the kill lead. They have a mild gold lead. They have the tower lead, so I'm looking towards Akuma here. You do have a rundown composition. You have a composition that excels at just diving onto these carries. Of course, there can be a little bit of a pickle sometimes, and that may be hard to deal with. But if there's a time to make it happen, look for these 1-item power spikes coming out, because we already have the item and a half here coming out for Shockpool and Doubtful. Colexo a little behind, trying to finish off that Sunfire, since he did finish those tier 2 boots first. Either way, though, I mean, this is going to be primo position here, because you're dealing with the Caitlyn who's just sitting on the IE, had to get that Executioner second, so she's not going to be pumping out that DPS. She can pump out good burst if she's able to get good headshot combos, but over an extended fight, it's going to be a little tricky. Of course, Hamlet, he's just sitting on that Manamune. He is just sitting on that Sheen, so he's going to be taking time to stack that up. Hasn't hit that Triforce power spike, and maybe this is where Akuma, they force their wills here, Lemons, around this Cloud Dragon that is spawning in roughly about 10 seconds.
It's just the way that GBC have played this game, the Kha'Zix makes no sense to me. And I'm just struggling to find a way for him to really be effective in these games. The way that GBC are playing this game is a 5v5 team fight composition. They have the pieces, but they just have this random Kha'Zix.
They're posturing for this.
They are, and the Face Breaker is going to come in. That's going to be a huge wombo combo over the top, though. GBC looking to take the fight. They get the big engagement onto Akuma, and that's a showstopper in the back, but Yoshishi's all by himself, and that's in the other back line. Doubtful getting some names on his chest, but all of a sudden, that's huge for Hamlet. A triple kill could be a quadra. After everything, that is Akuma just getting put into the ground. 4 members over to 2 for GBC, and I didn't have hope, but I was completely wrong.
God, and 3 of those kills going over to Hamlet. The other one going over to Meta there. Sure, you give up the Cloud Dragon, and against this composition, that will suck with how big some of their ultimates are. However, though, you're going to be getting 4 kills, 3 of which going on to one of your primo carries in that mid lane. You're able to pick up that mid tower as well. Inch yourself ahead in this tower lead. And honestly, you got to be feeling good here as the side of Goth Boy Clique. My one criticism, though, is Hamlet, please refund that Executioners. Like, Corki is literally the worst 80 carry to have a Last Whisper, because 80% of your damage is more or less magic. Actually, more so when you factor in abilities.
Going for the auto attack, though.
Yeah, I mean, you already have an Executioners on 9Z. You already have an Executioners on Meta. It's a little overkill. However, though, I mean, he's 3-0-1. He does have a little bit of extra ching in the pocket, so maybe he's just throwing his weight around, you know, just having that extra benefit, because his autos will still at least apply those Grievous Swings. That is why you buy the Executioners, so I don't know. Gonna be curious to see how this pans out.
It is for sure. Another Rift Herald potentially being set up here for Akuma. That last fight was just so wonky. Objective did end up going over, though, to Akuma, so they at least got one of those cooldown reduction dragons under their belt, and you're really liking that aspect of it. But it's a worrying sign to lose a fight like that, where you're set up so well in a 5v5 portion of it.
It definitely is, because they did have a great start to that fight. They're able to wreak complete havoc onto the backline there. They took down Nahor, and it didn't work out for them in the end. The damage was just too much to deal with. They took a bit of poke damage from that dragon, and then we saw Yoshishi in that backline causing a lot of havoc. However, though, they are going to be able to pick up the second hotel. They are still on their strong point here, Lemons. They are still in that roughly 2-ish item mark. 1.5 to 2.5 items. Like, a lot of these champs are going to be strong. Like, tank set, he can still put out a lot of damage, but if you're building tank, it is going to fall off as the game goes on. Of course, Olaf historically known for dropping off like a lemming, running over a cliff. Shockbull, he does scale well, of course, but I don't know if he's going to match the scaling of Double AD carry here, because that is always hard to match up to.
That one pop from Knight of the Zed did almost half of Forbidden's health.
Yeah, I got it all back, though, so did he really ever? To play the X-Files theme, maybe, put out a little Illuminati conspiracy theory out there. Who knows? Maybe Mowgli the cat behind the scenes. He's really the one running Risen here. People thought Travi was at the top. No. Travi Bucks is just short for Mowgli Bucks. Either way, though, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of calm here on the Rift. The Baron has spawned, but now these teams are really looking to grab it right now, since neither of them have a really big advantage. It would be very risky, and of course, we do have another minute and 15-ish till that next dragon, so gonna have a little bit of a chat time here, I feel like, on the desk while we wait on those to come up, I think.
I mean, you gotta think that both teams would want to be setting up around the Dragon Pit at this point, but apparently that's not the play. Because you see Meta hovering up towards this top side, you also see Doubtful up towards this top side.
Oh. And if our lovely producer could quickly go to the Gold Valley totals here. Hamlet, he is so close to getting this Triforce. It should just be this wave. He's going to be able to back. He's going to be able to get it. I don't know if the package is going to be available, but having that Triforce spike is going to be absolutely massive on this Corki, because he's already finished off that man at Mune. And that is going to be such a beautiful place to be in as a Corki when this dragon is up and coming. You have your Triforce Power Spike. You have that Manamune Power Spike. There's the Triforce. He's going to be looking for this. And from here on out, Lemons, the scaling is going to start kicking in. Maybe it won't start kicking too hard early on. Maybe this is like a 5-year-old, maybe a first grader just, kicking around at your shins. But soon those kicks are going to start adding up until you're facing a Muay Thai kickboxer. And next thing you know, you just get roundhouse with a 1,200 damage crit here from this Caitlyn.
I think the top side, okay, now it's going to be a little bit different. You're getting a back from Yoshishi. TP, or actually the back's going to be stopped. TP available for both the top laners. Stand United also available there for Yoshishi. As you got to think that's going to be a huge part of the play here. Package on to Hamlet. How do they want to use this? How do they want to take this fight?
Gotta make something happen here if you are on Akuma. Like, this is your time to shine here. This is where all your base damage is. They're starting to rear their head. What? Like a old boxer, your prime is passing. There's the package. There's the Ragnarok.
Not going to be able to get the dragon, though, as it is secured for GBC.
That's one.
And yeah, one kill going over so far. Doubtful is the one to fall. Can they get the rest of them, though? Yoshishi is still taken down. Plexo and Hamlet went across the wall. The ace in the hole is going to get that one. Forbidden goes down last, and that is the ace coming through for the Goth Boy Clique.
That is a 5-for-0 here, Lemons. Like, there's now 5 kills on this Corki. He is primed to carry this Baron right up. Nobody up to contest it, and like, that was the time here if you are Akuma. That's when you had the time to shine. But they just can't stand up to all this damage. They don't have enough tankiness. Of course, with all this damage, it comes at a cost here, and sure, you're able to stomach some damage with this triple dive threat, but when you're facing down that Corki with this massive 2-item power spike, like, you just get melted. And now they're down slow point. They're down the Baron. They're down all these kills. They're getting outscaled. They're down this massive 6k gold lead, Lemons. Like, Akuma, I don't know what they do to come back into this. It's going to take a little bit of a miracle here. They definitely have the pick potential. They have the chance to pull it off, but do they have the time to pull it off? Because time is not on their side, Lemons, and time doesn't wait on anyone, I hear.
Very true. And the fact that we have seen so much pressure put forward by Goth Boy Clique and successfully, does make you think about what Akuma are thinking in these fights, because it's got to not be feeling great on their side to keep just getting wiped in these, and not really knowing. I guess not. That's not the wording I was using, but feeling confident in the start of the fight, and then all of a sudden things turning around and you realizing you need to run. And those are never the positions you want to be in, especially with this kind of composition where you feel like you do have the sustain, you have some damage to back it up as well, but the goal just isn't there for you right now. The positioning around the map, the control around the map is just not there.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you fall behind. Like, we can see it in the vision right now. The blue side vision here for Akuma, it hasn't really extended too far. Like, they have a couple wards in their own jungle, but they're getting cleared out here and there by the side of Goth Clique. And you're stuck under tower here with these triple melees into the Baron buff. This Lux and Sona, they're just going to be piss poor playing these waves, to put it quite bluntly. Like, it is going to be a tough deal here. They did manage to win game number 1, though, here for Akuma, so they do have the potential. They do have the juice, but is this the game where the juice comes loose? I don't know, Lemons, because it certainly hasn't been loose so far. In fact, it's been solidified, I feel, by just how solid the Gothboy Clique game plan has been.
I was kind of wondering where you were going to bring that one. I like it. Yeah, it's...
Oh my god. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Poggy Woggy's in the chat. Shout out to Upsurge for bringing up the 56 viewers. Show some love. Show some Poggy Woggy's in the chat to our Upsurge Esports admin there. I don't know who's behind that account. They're a rather mysterious individual, but Poggy Woggy's in the chat.
And you get the love there too. Oh my goodness, Forbidden. Just gonna throw the spark there just to make sure they know he's still alive. I gotta appreciate Upsurge Esports coming in here though, clutch with the raid. Appreciate it so much. And the people that joined us get to watch the end of this series potentially here, as Akuma are on the last steps of their game. They need to pull something out. They're being sieged from every which way possible. And here comes the potential engagement. Kaito gets a huge stun there onto the two members. Crescendo's gonna miss though. Shockpool gets blasted on the side all by himself. Hamlet dominating now. And you still have the ADCs, the double carry composition alive and kicking there. But Hamlet finally falls. That's one half of the duo. Can they get the rest of them? Yoshishi gets a beautiful taunt across all 3 members. He still goes down, though. He's all alone across the wall. Knight of the Zed and Nahor are the only ones left alive against Pursuer and Forbidden. A battle of the bot lanes. Who's going to take it? Knight of the Zed getting a little bit lower. You have a lot of poke damage coming out. The shields are real here for Akuma, and they survive for a little bit longer. They lose 1 inhib on the bot side to minions. They lose the inhib tower in the mid lane, but they survive and live to tell the tale for another little bit at least.
Yeah, they go 3 for 3, which is absolutely great. We're looking for a little more fight in them. But Lemons, they lose 2 inhibitor turrets. They lose that bot lane inhibitor right as this Cloud Soul is coming up. That is going to be a tough thing to bargain with. You are going to have all 5 on the map, so maybe we do see that fabled 5 versus 5 team fight dub here. But time, it keeps on ticking. I know I said it earlier, but now that clock, each tick is a little louder with those supers just continuously pushing in the bot lane. They're just continuous like, hey, get to bot lane. And it's like, you're always on a timer here if you're Akuma. Never mind, that Cloud Dragon's just going to go down. I hyped it up, it just went down.
Yep, you know, it's all good though. It's all good. I'll just take that one from you there. Go Frito. It will come with the Soul goes over to the Gothboy Clique. And that's 20% ultimate cooldown reduction. Their ultimate is going to be feeling real good. But as well as that, you get a ton of speed on the ultimate cast. You get it's just everything that comes along with it. Hopefully not getting caught out, though, as they were a little bit outpositioned there. But at this point in time, they are in complete control. They are in the driver's seat, but Akuma still looking for their way in.
And I absolutely love this out from Nahor. He has the swagger to walk up. He has the Mobius. He knows he can just throw out these binds willy-nilly because he can't get targeted up. He has the black shield.
Oh my god.
Thank God Pursuer is a healing lad here, because if he didn't have that, that would have been a little bit more yikes. Either way, though, Dire Straits here if you're a bit of an Akuma Katana stan here. However, though, if you're a Goth Boy Clique stan, you are rocking those fan cams in the chat right now to make a K-pop reference. Either way, though, we see a little bit of posturing coming out from Clique, so you can feel the tension in the air here.
Look at that damage! Yoshishi just having his way with shock pull on the bot side of the base there for Akuma. And you see the focus on the Baron here for Goth Boy Clique, and they have the damage with them. They have some traps set up for themselves. Yeah, they want to get Hamlet here. They want to try and catch him out, but now it's just Klexo going for the chase down. Doubtful here. Gonna go across. It's gonna be a lot of damage there. He's gonna need to pop Ragnarok. He does. He gets out with the flash as well. The crescendo comes down, lands on Knight of Zed, but they can't follow it up. The showstopper into the backline though. Klexo carrying the team here. Haymaker's gonna clean that one up though. Hamlet's still in the backline, still being able to do a lot of damage. Meta now is in here. He's brought the Kazakhs to the fight. He flashes forward, picks up the kill on Forbidden. He can't take Klexo though, but luckily he's got teammates. We have a TP into the base here. They are looking for the end. It is Goth Boy Clique looking to go for the throat as Shen is already on the Nexus towers.
I don't think he can end here. Hamlet,
I don't think he can either.
We might see something come out because there's another 10 seconds still pursuing. The other members are well over 20 seconds as the fighting does come out. This looks like a...
We don't have a wave.
Next turn about to go down. There is some minions coming in here. One of those is a super. They don't have the Baron buff, which is very crucial here. I feel there is the Sona coming back up. Look for Klexo here. Facebreaker. The Facebreaker misses as it looks like it's just going to be
clean.
And that mid inhibitor.
Hamlet is so clean on this Corki. From his positioning in fights to his little skirmishes and his sidesteps, he has been on top of it this game.
And that's what you need to be as this Corki like. Yeah, 3 people in the goon squad just coming to run you down every fight. You can't make mistakes here. You can't make a misstep here. It takes 2 to tango and it takes 1 to avoid tango, but one person... You gotta have a strong mental to avoid this tango, I feel, when there's a showstopper, when there's that Ragnarok, and of course shock pull with a potential teleport flank, or even with a Sting United slash Void Assault. Who knows what can happen? There's a lot of shenanigans that can happen when a... God, why am I... Silas is on the Rift. I don't know why I forgot his name for a second there. Either way, though, with those 2 inhibitors down, shock pull, he does have the teleport here, and I have a feeling... We're going to see a Baron bait here. We're going to force out the teleport from Shock Pull, and depending on how well the events that transpire that go, do they win the team fight here for Goth Boy Clique, or do they just fall back? I don't know. Either way, I feel like Goth Boy Clique, they're forcing their will here. They got the situation in their favor here. They got the scale. They got the gold lead. And I just want to see him execute on it here, Lemons.
I think Klexo has been having such a pop-off performance on the set from the mid lane. He's been the one that's been engaging these fights and really starting them off well for Akuma. I want to see some more of that, but I've got to see Doubtful having a little bit more impact in these team fights. He got on the backline last time, but the rest of his team just kind of shadowed around him. Now Yoshishi could be caught out. They see a target. They want to go for the target, but Baron is the bait here. They are getting surrounded at this point.
Fine.
I don't know if you want to be here. Flash forward, the crescendo is going to land. The final spark comes over the top as well. They actually get out Knight of the Zed. We're going to see those.
What can he do? What can he do?
Though Pursuer goes golden, shock pull, misses the abduct. Is not going to be able to get onto the engagement there. Meta looking on the side. They are still grouped up. They're going to walk all into those traps though and get spotted out here. They're trying to stop they're actually just trying to catch them out a little bit here.
That wave in the bot lane.
Gets the engagement on Nahor. Nahor goes down, but Forbidden gets the engagement on the other side. The showstopper comes out, but he dies mid-air, and Hamlet gets engaged on, but it's not going to be for long. Doubtful finally arrives, but he is all by his lonesome. He's going to try to take the meta down, but he gets eviscerated. A triple kill going down for Yoshishi, and this is everything. The death timer is still too long. The lives not there for Akuma, and that is going to be the Goth Boy Clique moving on and eliminating Akuma Katanas.
And when everything was on the line, Lemons, Goth Boy Clique, they're able to throw things at the wall that did stick in the end. Like, this was the do or die moment here, and I'm so sorry if you are on the side of Akuma's Katanas here, because this was one hell of a run. Like, you made it this far, that is still a hell of an achievement here in this Arisen Divine playoffs here, but still, Gothboy Clique just edging out in the end. They're able to take the dub here. They're able to go on to the losers semifinals here, and they still have a little bit of hope here, Lemons, to maybe make it to the grand finals and maybe even take the dub overall in this entire bracket.
You've made it to the first resting spot. You've still got a long way to go to the top of Mount Everest here for the side of Gothboy Clique, but it is so exciting to see them pull this win off, to pull this series win off after really just not showing up in game number one and being able to bring it back and show that they have a lot of strength. They can pull out these pieces that work for them. And I just want to see them carry this momentum to potentially the final game.
And they were able to carry that momentum to the final game. This entire series, though, it was neck and neck here, Lemons. Like, both these teams, they gave each other a run for their money. They both had to pull out all the stops here. They had to try every trick in the hat. But in the end, just works out in the favor of Gothboy Clique. They're able to advance here, and they've got to be feeling good. But Akuma's Katanas, if you're in the Twitch chat right now watching, like, please don't get too down from this. I said this earlier. I'll say it again. This was one hell of a run. You made it this far. That is an achievement in of itself.
It really was. And I think they had some great performances along the way. I mean, I have so many great things to say about this team. It's unfortunate to have them bow out here, but it was Gothboy Clique, the better team on the day. And it's so promising to see talent like this developing and just seeing it all come together. You get knocked down, you got to get right back up, and I hope to see that come true for Akuma. But just for the side of Gothboy Clique, it's so exciting. It's just so exciting, Go Freno. You had pop-up performances across the board in most of the games. Game number one, not so much, but you had different pieces picked up along the way. You had things just completely change around in the drafts and still come out on top. So I'm really excited to see them face off against HFG and really just see their continuation in this story. But Go Freno, that's going to be it from us for tonight for this wonderful Monday night cast of the Divine League. I'm sure we will see you all next week if you're around for the games, as we're going to have the next bracket in this wonderful tournament go on in the playoffs.
Show up because this is exciting.
It's so awesome. I'm so excited to be a part of it. But want to give a quick shout out to Mowgli the cat in the background doing the production. Always the best. Thank you so much, my dude, for doing that for us. Go Freno. It has been an absolute pleasure casting these games with you 2 days in a row. Gotta love it. Thank you again, everyone, for showing up, for coming out, for enjoying these games with us, and we'll see you next time on Summoner's Rift.